We're doing an initial Week 6 NFL picks show tonight. Excited about this episode. We have 15 games to get through. Got a Monday night doubleheader, another international game, lots of other great games. So before we get into everything, please hit like, subscribe, comment below, share this video, visit the link in the description for the merch store. As always, we're wearing something from the merch store. It is our fancy, very fancy brown Walter football t-shirt. You can even wear this to weddings, I believe, and no one will get mad. And you can get it at the merch store right here, 20% off. If you're not seeing it, you're like, wait, I don't see this fancy shirt. Well, you can go to this one and change the color. You can go to any shirt, change the color. You can get long sleeve, you can get hoodie, women's tank top, infant onesie even. There are a lot of other options too. So check this out. We can go to Amazon, buy my books. The most recent ones are Jerks to the College Years, where I made fun of people I met at Penn State. I was there for 6 years. My first book was Safety and a Field Goal, where I compiled the top 5 lists of NFL players or NFL topics, mostly serious, but some fun ones too. So I think you guys would enjoy that if you haven't read that already. And please consider super chats, super stickers. It's the best way to support the show. The boss gave us a $5 super chat yesterday. So thank you so much, the boss. Thank you so much for everyone for contributing. Slew, John Sanders, Armac gave us a $100. Are
you telling me Bruce Springsteen listens to the show?
Yeah, apparently. Actually, we had this guy John Abruzzo comment yesterday, and like John Abruzzi was the mob boss of the Chicago. And I was like, wait, did he just change the O to an I, the I to an O, so like no one would realize that he was talking on here? So I thought that was pretty funny. But
witness protection, I think.
right. All right. So we were joined by Andy Iskoe from thelogicalapproach.com. Going to put that on the screen here in a second. Andy, how's it going? How's your week 5?
Well, despite all the carnage and the elimination by trusting those Arizona Cardinals to knock me out of the Survivor contest, it was a pretty good weekend overall. Had a lot of those upsets, had a lot of those underdogs on the money line and teased up a bit. So that was pretty good. College went all right. So it was a good week, but being eliminated by Survivor. In fact, I'll just quickly say, I was looking at 3 teams, just to give you an idea of the thought process. Mm-hmm. I was considering 3 teams for the Survivor. I was considering Minnesota over Cleveland, Colts over Raiders, and Cardinals over Titans. And I eliminated the Colts over the Raiders simply because you had 2 quarterbacks who were pretty much on a par, Daniel Jones and Geno Smith, experience, etc. I didn't see that there was a huge advantage, even though the Colts are the better team. The Raiders also were in a difficult spot as far as coming off that tough loss to the Bears. I eliminated the Vikings simply because they were going up against a Cleveland defense that plays so well that could the Vikings score enough. And as it turns out, they needed to score in that final minute just to get the win. They also got the cover, winning by 4, laying 3.5, but that was it. I ended up going with the Cardinals simply because they were going against not just the worst team in football in the Titans, but the Titans who had played progressively worse in each of their 4 games, going from their opening loss in Denver to that ugly loss in week 4. So ended up going with that. And of course, Titans didn't win the game. Arizona gave it away twice.
Yeah, they did. Yeah,
so I don't regret the pick because the reasoning was sound. Although I did have a sense, and I did something that I rarely do in the Survivor contest. I actually made some money line plays on the Titans, just in case the Titans collapsed late, like they did against the Saints and the Panthers.
I like it. It's like buying puts on a stock you own.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, it's a good strategy. I had 2 Survivor entries left in the DraftKings contest. I took the Cardinals in one. I took the Colts in the other. So we were on the same wavelength there. So my one.
I did consider the Vikings also because of the fact that they had the experienced quarterback in Wentz. Not that he's all that great, but he hasn't been terrible. But they were also going up against a Brian Flores defense, going up against not just a rookie quarterback, but a rookie quarterback making his first start. And so I felt that was an advantage. But as it turned out, and by the way, that's the trouble when you start playing games with totals under 37 or 38.
Yeah. Sue's asking, would Andy like to comment on the Cardinals' collapse against the Titans? Which I don't know. I felt like I had a mental breakdown because I had the Cardinals in almost every single contest entry. I had the Cardinals as one of my top plays, along with the Colts, and I had them in one of my Survivor entries.
The surprising thing is that what's the running back's name? Abracadabra. I think she should just disappear. That he could do with the ball before crossing the goal line what happened to who was it, Adonai in the Colts game just a week earlier, and attracted all that attention. So that was really surprising. And then it was just a crazy play with the interception. You'd like to think that the guy plays by instinct, but you kind of wish he just went down and they recovered the fumble, or they didn't fumble because he went down after the interception. But that's just a fluky thing that happened and probably deserved to the Cardinals because of their mistakes.
Yeah, it was one of the worst beats we've had, and I thought Rams collapsed against the Eagles with the blocked field goal return for a touchdown. I thought that was bad. And
but that's still not like dropping the football before you cross the goal line.
Right. That's
or intercepting a ball, fumbling it, having the other team recover it in the end zone. In fact, I'm surprised that they don't have that rule for when a team fumbles and the ball is advanced. Here, the team fumbled and the intercepting team. I felt, and it's not playing results here, but I thought that the rule should be similar, that you can't advance a fumble after you recover it on a change of possession.
Yeah, they as the other team that advanced it the other way.
No, but I'm saying that who was it? Who was it who intercepted the Cardinals intercepted it, and then they fumbled it, and it should have been recovered because the team that was on offense was the team that ended up recovering the fumble.
Right. Yeah. I get it.
It's a little picky, but there's just an inconsistent. I mean, it's also the same thing when you fumble the ball out of the end zone, you score, or you fumble the ball on the 1 yard line and it goes out of the end zone and you lose possession. That's stupid. You get the ball on. You want to penalize them a little bit, but give them the ball on the 5 yard line.
Yeah, or 10 yards, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, you don't lose possession when the defense didn't touch the ball. For the most part.
You make it a 5 yard penalty and from the goal line to the 5 or something. Yeah.
There are a lot of stupid rules. Why can't you have 2 men in motion on offense? What's the purpose there? Why can't you have a tackle go 5 or 10 yards downfield? What's the purpose? I want to know what the argument was that said, we need this rule.
It's all bureaucracy. I feel like they just want rules. I don't know. Maybe the officials get paid per flag or something.
No. I'm just saying that a lot of those rules. It's kind of like pass interference. You can call it on the receiver or the or the defensive back.
Yeah.
You can do unless it's quite obvious, like the call that wasn't made. I think in the Philadelphia game. Was that with AJ Brown? Was that the one at the end of the game where the guy was practically tackled?
Yeah. That was
there's no consistency.
Call,
yeah. And you still should be allowed to have replay determine if there's pass interference or not, or if it's if it's going both ways, because it's usually going both ways. 95% of them.
I always thought that they should have kept the PI challengeable.
Yeah, because it gives the officials too much damn control over the outcome of games, and could lead to some things that the NFL wished with betting partners. No, seriously, it gives the officials way too much control of the game, and there's always going to be people who are suspicious. You can't prove that something was, below board, but you could certainly believe and have it point to circumstances that shows that it's possible. The fact that something is possible doesn't mean it occurred; just means that it's possible. And you want to have those types of quote unquote conspiracies as minimized as much as possible. So you give the officials way too much latitude in calling penalties. I mean, I hate the thought of balls and strikes being the robo-ump, but at least it's going to be consistent.
Right. It's all pretty terrible. And to anyone who's like, oh, the officials will never rig it. I mean, we saw Tim Donaghy in the NBA. So obviously, if that can be done, then it can be done in the NFL.
That's how you do it, because in that way you don't taint the performance of the players who are going out to win. And all you have to do, if you throw a flag, or you don't throw a flag on something obvious, which is just as serious.
Yeah, and no one's there to see the officials too. No one wants to see the flags. Actually,
Yeah.
there was a bit on like the old Family Matters show where like I think it was Steve Urkel dressed up in an official's uniform. So he's like,
Right.
I don't like either team. I'm just rooting for the referees. So that was like the one instance I ever heard that. But
The only thing that I always ask for the officials, be consistent. Call in the fourth quarter or officiate in the fourth quarter the way you officiated in the first quarter.
yeah,
The players know what the officials allow and don't allow, and if they allow it or don't allow it in the first quarter, don't change as the game progresses. That's all.
Yeah. Patrick says it came back to Glow told you to bet the Patriots last week. It's a nice payday. Congratulations, Patrick. You got everyone done. Yeah. The injuries had me staying off the Giants-Eagles game. So, yeah, we'll talk about that in a second. You were right, Patrick. My Buffalo Stampede got aborted. Yeah, the Bills did not look very good.
By the way, just for anyone who's looking at this week's game with Buffalo and Atlanta, the last 2 years, the Bills have lost back-to-back games.
Yeah.
Last year was early in the season. 2 years ago, it was, I think, around November. So, Bills, so for people who think that the Bulls, they don't lose back-to-back games with all those double-digit win seasons, it's happened each of the last 2 years.
Yeah, last year was what they got smoked by the Ravens, and then they lost to the Texans, I believe.
I think last year it was 2 road games back-to-back, and the year before, I want to say it was like Denver and Cincinnati. One was at home and one was on the road.
Right. But the Texans won. That was a weird game where Josh Allen like threw 3 times from his own end zone. It was very strange. So Survivor is the only thing that appears working for me at the moment. Took Colts, looking at Green Bay, Rams, and possibly Raiders this week. Well, I mean,
I actually would be if I were still because I had this game planned. I would have been on the Raiders this week.
Well, sounds like we have an agreement there. We'll get to that game too. Yeah. Ward made nice throws. Will Flacco save the Bengals? We'll get to that game. We'll talk about Flacco and stuff like that.
No, Flacco may save the Packers.
That's true. Hey, Walt, do you think Jonathan Gannon should have been fined? No, I don't think so. I joked on Twitter. I said I would have given him a prize for yelling at him.
No. You don't do that. You don't fine a guy just because it happened to show up on TV. If it doesn't show up on TV, nobody knows about it.
Right. Exactly. What Gannon did was horrific and wrong. I disagree, Richard. I think. I imagine he stressed this. I would imagine
he didn't punch the guy out. He punched the guy wearing shoulder pads.
Yeah,
or pushed the guy wearing shoulder pads.
Yeah, the coaches getting
it has a bad look. Yes, indeed.
Yeah,
but that's what happens. That's one of the things. When you're on the sidelines, you never know when the camera's on you, and you certainly shouldn't be focusing on it because you're focusing on the game and the next play you're going to call.
Yeah, I remember that was his name. Jeff George used to yell at coaches all the time.
Yeah,
and like they'd yell back at him. It feels like it was a different time back then. Bills are frauds. Can get the Patriots to win the division to plus 360. That's an interesting number. I still think the Bills
plus 360. No.
I still think
now if you want to bet the Pats to finish second in the division, that's a little bit different because that could be any one of those 3 teams. Whoever gets the 6 wins.
Yeah. I don't think the NFL is the same way as the AFC Championship in 22. Remember the do-over. I mean.
Oh, yeah.
I skipped my comments. It was about your fantasy team. Sorry, Jason. It's about your fantasy team. That's like known as the most boring things. Like when everyone talks about their fantasy teams, like I just like zone people out at that point.
Oh, actually, that should be the topic of a different show.
Yeah. Well, it was yesterday.
I don't know. Oh, you do? Okay.
Yeah, we did.
I would think that one you would want to do later in the week when there's more information about injuries.
Well, it works out on Tuesdays because that's the waiver wire gets processed on Wednesday morning. So people have questions like who should.
Oh, okay, that's the way that league works.
Yeah, most leagues they have waiver wires Wednesday morning. So people are like, oh, who should I pick up? The player X, player Y. So we get those sort of questions.
Yeah, when I was doing leagues and I was in like private leagues, we would have our waivers on Friday night.
Yeah. Oh, that's pretty. So. But that was, I assumed, before Thursday Night Football, so that's different now, right?
No, we just, I think we just let. I mean, you claim the guy on Friday night, and you get his stats from the night before.
Oh wow, okay,
yeah,
okay, interesting. Okay, let's.
No. You know what? I'm sorry. I think we used to have waivers on Wednesday night involving players who were going to be playing in the Thursday night games.
Okay, that makes
Only.
more sense.
Only.
Right.
Yeah.
That makes more sense. Okay. Let's get into the games here. The first one is the Eagles at Giants game, which was the Giants are brought up in their injuries. Darius Slayton's out in addition to Malik Neighbors. We'll see about like some of the inactives and whatnot. I assume we're waiting on some important players here, but the Eagles coming off a loss.
What's the situation with Barkley?
I'm pulling this up now.
Wasn't he held out of practice yesterday?
He limited on Tuesday, but he does not have an injury designation. I'm gonna put this on screen right now. So here's the injury report. Grant Calcaterra's out for anyone who cares. Landon Dickerson's out. He's not playing well. He's just really banged up. Nakobe Dean might be back. And then Jalen Carter got limited today, questionable. So watch out for that. We know how important he is from that Dallas game. The Giants, they have Slayton, we know, is out. Jermaine Illuminor is questionable. It's DMP limited, which doesn't look great.
What that means that if you haven't been league, start Robinson.
Oh, man, so Wan'Dale Robinson's so mediocre. You know who
I like targets.
Well, you know what I like for the Giants is their tight end Theo Johnson. I think that he's a really good athlete. And like Wan'Dale Robinson, he just catches short passes. And so if you're in a PPR league, that's fine. No. But in a regular league where catches don't count, I don't like him as much. So Theo Johnson, I think, is the way to go. He's just one of those Penn State athletes who I think is going to have a good career. Anyway, I think the Eagles bounce back here. I like betting better teams on Thursday Night Football because the inferior team doesn't have enough time to prepare, make a good game plan. The one caveat has to be that the favorite is going to be focused. And I think the Eagles will be focused. They just lost to the Broncos. This is the divisional rival.
By the way, a quick question on this one before you continue. Talk about travel. I don't know. I imagine the Eagles probably bus up to New York or New Jersey, actually. Yeah. So travel's really not a factor. It's like going to the mall.
Right. It's not far at all.
Not far.
It's like an hour drive or so.
I think about 90 minutes to
hour and a half. Yeah.
Hour 45.
Yeah, so it's not too bad. So yeah, I like the Eagles. I don't know if I'm gonna bet this game more than like a unit or two. I wouldn't go crazy with Thursday Night Football, but what do you think about this game?
First thing comes to mind at this line, use the Eagles in a teaser down to you take a 6-point teaser. You can take them down to 1.5. 6.5, you get them to 1, or higher than that, you can take them down to a half. Where are you showing the total at? Because that's ironic. It's 40.5 or 41, I think, isn't it?
I'm pulling it up right now. The total is 40.5 at Caesars, 40 at Circa. So 40 or 40.
If you can find a 41 or buy at the 41, the 41's basically 24-17 right there on the number, side and total. But yeah, I do like the under in this one as well. I don't know how the Giants' only chance, I think, to be competitive in this game, and I don't know that they can do it, is to try and run the football because they don't have much in the way of receiving talent there. Yeah. And of course, Dart is a factor or can be a factor in the running game. So I think that does it. And I don't know. Again, we don't know if Barkley's 100% or if he was, maybe it was a personal day he took off yesterday for whatever. I mean, I don't know what the details were, but he has yet to get started. And, maybe that says something about the Eagles' offensive line, which plays into the strength of the Giants' defense, which is their defensive line.
Yeah. Well, yeah, they can't. The Giants are really good at pass rush, but they can't stop the run. They're awful against the run. So. Yeah. That's going to be important to get Barkley going. I'm sure he'll want his second attempt at revenge against the Giants because he missed out on that. He could have gotten the all-time rushing record. Yeah, he could have gotten the all-time rushing record against the Giants, but he sat out. So I assume.
I'm probably not going to play a side in this game. If I did, I would tend to play the Eagles, the better team. But I really don't like, especially on a short week, which has nothing to do with the travel, just the preparation time. Even though they're familiar, it is the first time that they've played this year. I don't like going against large divisional home dogs on a Thursday night game, especially where the Giants are probably not going to be on primetime games very much. So they may be able to put together a spirited effort, stay in this game, and maybe you see something like a 20-16 type game or 21-16, where the Eagles get several touchdowns and the Giants do what they excel at on offense, settling for field goals.
I just I love looking this stuff up. I just looked up underdogs of 6. I don't know why that's. Hold on, let me adjust this number. Underdogs of 7 or more on Thursday Night Football in divisional games. This is all time since '89 at least. They are 24 and 27 against the spread.
Is that home dogs or all dogs?
Actually, it
should be home dogs.
Yeah, let me put home. Just 4 and 5 against the spread. Wow, it's only the 9th time since '89.
I'm surprised it's that few, considering all the Thursday night games that we. I don't know. By the way, does that include Thanksgiving or not?
Yes, it
okay.
does. Yeah.
That's very sure. That's because we're talking what, the '89. So you're talking 36, 37 seasons.
Yeah.
Well, 36 including last year.
Yeah. The first instance of this is 2009. That was as Thanksgiving Lions versus Packers. But yeah,
you're saying there was nothing in the first 20 years
on Thursday? I guess not on Thursdays. No. No.
Wow.
I'm not seeing anything.
When did they start Thursday night games? Had to be before. I mean, forgetting about Thanksgiving.
Well, it was really, it really made prevalent in like 2010 or two, because I remember, I think it was 2011 actually, because I moved into this house in 2010, and I remember the first year I lived here, I had Thursdays off. Thursday used to be my night off during the week, because like I'm doing other stuff for preparing for the week and stuff like that, but there's nothing on Thursdays, so I'd have dinner with my parents or something, or I'd go out, but that ended completely. But I remember it was like the second year I lived in this house, which was like 2011. I think that's when it really got started. So, so it hasn't been that long. They, of course, they had the Thanksgiving games, but they really haven't had Thursday Night Football like extensively, before 2010 at least. So, anyway, so
yeah, I was just Googling the answer, and let me see. The NFL Network first launched its regular Thursday Night Football telecast in 2006. Initially featuring games later in the season, starting near Thanksgiving, exclusively on the network. The schedule expanded over the years to include games earlier in the season. So,
yeah, they started the late games very late in the season, and then I think it was 2011 when they went full.
I did not realize. I mean, we're talking 20 years basically, 06 to 25. I didn't realize that it was that recently that the Thursday night games had started.
Yeah, that's that
explains the small database.
Right. I don't like it. Andrew says, "What if you're commissioner? How would you fix it? This Thursday game, would you have short trips like this?"
We've talked about this before. Yeah. We would have it. Teams that had the teams playing Thursday night had the buys the week before. Now, one thing the NFL could do, maybe you would eliminate Thursday night games once before the buys begin or after they end. We've seen more doubleheaders on Monday nights. So why not move it? Why not move a Thursday, a Sunday game to a day later on a Monday night? You don't have the Thursday night game, but you've got a Monday night doubleheader. As long as they don't start them at within an hour of each other, because I think people like the idea of a Monday night doubleheader, and it would college football would basically have Thursday night to itself.
Yeah, what they could do is, I agree. I would make it with all
except
the
for Thanksgiving,
teams.
Of course.
Yeah, I would make it with all the bye teams. But you could have double headers on Thursday if there are 4 teams that have a bye week 5. Those 4 teams can play each other week 6 in a double header on Thursday night. I think that would be fun.
You could do that. Or the other thing, and then I've mentioned this before, and we may see it when the league ultimately goes to an 18-game schedule. You'll have double buys. That would make it even more possible to schedule buys, teams playing on Thursday after one of their 2 buys.
Yeah, it's the best way. If they really care about player safety, that's what they would do. I get the sense they do not. As much as they say they have to say it because they don't want to get sued. But the NFL lives in the bizarro, upside down, backwards universe of words speak louder than actions. Yeah, that's definitely true. All right, let's get to the oh man, another London game. Great. The Broncos versus the Jets. This is a 7:30 a.m. local start time for the Broncos. They are either 7-point favorites or 7.5, depending on where you look. I treat international games like Thursday night games because the inferior team doesn't get much of a chance to prepare because they're on a short week basically because they have to travel. So it's like a day off.
Unless they play back-to-back weeks like
Right.
Minnesota does, but that's the extreme rarity.
Exactly. Yeah, we've seen that 3 times. This is both teams are traveling here, and
It's a much shorter trip for the Jets.
It is. It is.
I would imagine it's nonstop for the Jets. I wouldn't be. I don't know about Denver because it's 3,000 miles, probably 2,500 miles away. If they have to stop for like refueling or something on the East Coast, or maybe like in Newfoundland or something.
Yeah. I like.
I'm serious. I'm serious about that. That it may be a much longer flight because they may have some stops going from Denver, as opposed to the Jets, where I don't know. I forget what it's like a 6 or 7 hour flight.
Yeah, I don't know. I wonder. They might stop. Yeah, that makes sense. But anyway, I like the Broncos here. Well, obviously they're the better team, but the Jets they just quit. They just quit last week. It was ridiculous how they just allowed. Remember that touchdown?
Did they quit more than the Raiders?
I don't know. I feel like they did quit more than the Raiders.
Or let me put it this way: did they quit more than the Ravens?
That is definitely the
Ravens. I really thought the Ravens quit in the first half of that game.
It looked like they did. I don't know if the Raiders quit. Like the Raiders had some unfortunate plays in that game, like some turnovers that really swung the Colts' way.
Could have been worse because the Colts lost their kicker. They had to keep going for 2.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, the Raiders did lose their punter, but it's like nothing really matters.
But that's a big deal because that has been their strength in the last few years. Has been their special teams, Carlson and Cole, the kicker and the punter, and Cole got banged up last week, and Carlson I think is okay.
Yeah, I'm just saying that when you're already trailing by a couple touchdowns and your punter gets hurt, it's like, okay, what are you gonna do? Punt less or punt more? I don't know. So anyway, the Jets quit last week. They were embarrassing. Like that one play when the Cowboys are just trying to run out the clock in the first half, and Javonte Williams is a 66-yard run. I don't know. I like the Broncos here. Obviously the better team. The Jets are just truly awful. And initially I thought, okay, my role obviously is take the better team, but as long as they're focused. And I thought that maybe the Broncos coming off that comeback win against the Eagles may not be focused. However, this is an international stage game. This is not like the Jaguars who play here every year. This is new for them, and I think that this is their chance.
Have they never played there before?
Didn't the
Jets play last year there? Was it against Minnesota? Maybe
the Jets did, yes, but not the Broncos.
No, I'm saying the Jets. Yeah,
right. I'm talking about the Broncos. I think this is their chance to be on an international stage for the first time because these teams, these Western teams and Midwest teams, usually don't go there because it's usually the East Coast teams because they, it's a 9:30 start for them as opposed to 7:30 start. And next week we're gonna have the Rams
and also
here.
I think West Coast teams who do go to London probably play on the East Coast the week before.
Yes, that's like what the Rams are doing. Yeah, the Rams are going to London next week. So, I like the Broncos, and I thought initially, like I said, I thought they'd be in focus, but now I'm thinking more and more. I'm like, yeah, you know what? I'm going to bet this game, even though I don't want to because I'm not going to watch the first half because it's way too early for me. So,
that's okay. Your bet won't know that.
Yeah, right. So, what do you think about this game? Who do you like here?
Well, I think that this is Denver's an obvious choice to include in the teaser with Philadelphia. I can't find a reason to back the Jets the way they're playing. By the way, I want to give kudos to Sean Payton, who had the greatest call in Super Bowl history. Yeah. And I like the way last week when they finally closed to, 17-16?
Yeah,
they went for 2 because there was only like a minute and a half or so left in the game.
Yeah.
And they went for 2 and basically said, we're going to win it now. And if we don't make the 2-point conversion, our defense is good enough to stop the Eagles when they get their possession for a 3-and-out, and they might have another chance to go down and kick the game-winning field goal. I give Sean Payton a lot of credit for it because that shows confidence both in your offense to be successful and your defense if they're not successful. I think the players gravitate towards that type of thinking from a coach, and that's why he's generally being successful. Now, the only thing that they could do with Sean Payton is have him start coaching in week 3.
I know. I don't know why it's so bad in weeks 1 and 2.
I don't know. It's just getting a feel for things, and maybe just well, again, you pointed out also that not only is his ATS record in weeks 1 and 2 horrible, his straight up record is not very good either. Because I could have said,
Right.
well, maybe he wants to take it, slow and just get everybody accommodated, and hey, let's win the game. We don't care if we're favored by 7. Let's just win by 1 or whatever it takes. But no, I like him as a coach, and he did wonders for Drew. He got Drew Brees into the Hall of Fame. And I don't know that he's going to do that with Bo Nix, but he's certainly getting him off to a very, very good start. Again, my play will be in order, teasing Denver, probably with the Eagles. Hopefully I won't have to replay it after tomorrow night. The next one, what's the total in this one? What do you show the total is?
The total is 43.5.
Okay. I like the under in that. And then if I had to play a side, I would tend to play the Broncos.
Okay.
Much better defense, and an offense that is capable considering the defense they're facing.
Yeah, and they think about it this way. They're very close to being 5-0 right now. Like they blew the Colts game. Like the leverage call that gave the Colts another try, and then the Chargers, they had the lead in the fourth quarter.
That one I don't say they were close, because that was a game that was back and forth, and it's kind of like Tampa Bay playing those close games. And someone said, well, their game against who was it, against Houston? Oh, it was a bad beat if you had Houston. No, you didn't. What's Houston supposed to do on the final drive of the game, and they're down by 2 points?
Right.
Well, they're supposed to say, well, I guess we just don't have it today. Let's just run the clock out and give Tampa Bay the win. No, I'm sorry, the other way around. Tampa Bay came back and ended up taking the lead and beating you. There's a bad beat. There's a difference between a bad beat and a tough beat.
Sure.
Yeah. A tough beat is when you have the lead most of the game and the other team comes from behind. It's not a weird play that occurs. A bad beat is when you're like a 95% favorite with or maybe a 98% favorite with 2 minutes to go in the fourth quarter, and you have the ball.
Yeah, or
that's a bad
beat.
Beat.
Or one of the players drops the ball right before the goal
Something
line.
Like that, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Exactly. What do you mean by 18 games?
By the way, at the end of the game, that's a bad beat. If it occurs in the third quarter, it's a bad play, but it's not a bad beat. You still have 15, 20 minutes to go.
Yeah, that was the fourth quarter. There was 13 minutes left, but that would have taken the game to 28-6. Like, I think the Titans probably would have quit at that point. What do you think? What do you mean by 18-game schedule? Or is there expansion teams? No, Goodell wants to expand it to 18 games in the regular season and cut down the preseason. So that's going to be.
I never liked the fact when they went to 17. I thought 16 was like a perfect number, 4 quarters and all that, and the scheduling was nice, but. There's money involved, and that's what talks. And that's going to be, if there's going to be a labor stoppage, whether it be by owners or by players, it's going to be over the 18th game.
Yeah, I think so too. Didn't they used to have London games? When did they switch to 9:30? Yeah, they used to have the London games at 1 o'clock, and then for some reason they moved this to 9:30 because they had the brilliant idea, like, oh, let's have football on all day. Well, why not have games on at 10 p.m. too?
They could also charge more for commercials.
Right.
By having the game isolated, they can charge more for commercials because it's an NFL game, but it's the only game to watch at that hour. And I can understand it, and I actually kind of like the fact that as the game ends, it's 30 past. You're half an hour before the start of all the 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific game. So it's not like there's a 4-hour break or 2-hour break or something.
I can tell you this: it certainly kills all the pregame shows, all their ratings, and and anyone making a podcast for it. Because like when there's not an early game, I'll listen to some podcasts as I'm doing some work heading into the game, and then but now if the game's on, I'm not listening to them. I just completely forget about this. So,
the only thought there is because it is a London game and it's isolated, and it's generally on the NFL Network. The NFL Network repeats that game, I think, several times over the next 24 hours. So you don't have to watch the game live. If you want to know what happened, you can watch the replay in the middle of the night.
Yeah, but if you're playing fantasy football on the West Coast, you have to wake up at 6:15 a.m. to set your lineup. It doesn't feel great.
By the way, when do they announce the inactives for that game? Do they announce it around 6:30 a.m.? It starts at 9:30 Eastern. What do they announce it? Maybe
it would be
9:30 would be 8 a.m. Eastern.
8 a.m.
90 minutes before kickoff.
Yep. Yeah, so you can wake up at 5 a.m. to hear the inactives. All right,
Or you can just not go to sleep Saturday night.
that is
And
an
those hours are
option.
perfect for you, by the way.
Yeah, but except I have to work the entire day for regular football. It'd be one thing if I could take a nap at noon or something, but it's not possible.
Well, just follow the Jets script last week. They took a long nap.
It's true.
Unfortunately, it was while the game was being played.
That's true. I can't believe Aaron Glenn's team is so poorly coached. I look.
Yeah,
it's not like he never had experience as head coach, but I thought that he was a players coach. He did well in Detroit as defense coordinator.
He understands the game.
Yeah,
from a intellectual standpoint.
Yeah, but apparently not and not well enough to motivate his team.
Well, they don't have it. They really don't have a great roster.
They don't.
And
but
the defense was
that game.
Well. It's frustrating. The defense is awful. Yeah. That's the surprise. And we saw it in game 1 against Pittsburgh.
Yeah. At least they almost won that game, but still.
Yeah.
Well,
once again, if I believe, didn't they have a 32-31 lead? And yeah, Pittsburgh that was like a 60-yard field goal that Pittsburgh got. Was a long field goal. And
they had a
34-32.
Yeah, they had a substantial lead, and then the Jets lost the fumble on the kickoff, and then the Steelers got a touchdown on that. So the Jets outgained the Steelers in that game 394 to 271, and they averaged 6.4 yards per play compared to 5 for the Steelers. So they were the better team in that game, but they threw that one away, and it seems like they've gotten worse every week, except for that Monday night game where they played well outside of those fumbles. If they didn't fumble the ball, they may have won that game. Richard says, "Well, have you watched the new Chad Powers show? I love it. It's funny. Isn't that on Hulu? I lost my Hulu subscription, so I didn't see it, but it does look funny. I want to see it eventually." Okay, so anyway, let's get to the Sunday slate here. Browns at the Steelers. This line is Steelers minus 5.5. I think the obvious thing here is that the Browns do not have a good traveling schedule. This is their third consecutive.
Why did they choose not to have, given what you were about to say, why did they not choose to have their bye this week?
I don't know. I mean, I know teams hate the week 5 and week 6 buys. I know that. We were told last year when the Lions saw the schedule and they saw they had a week 5 buy, they were irate. That's why my suggestion should be implemented. Mm-hmm. Nobody's going to like it. Now, the NFL could start buys after week 6, for example. But if you're going to start them, give every team in the division the same bye week so there's no competitive or timing disadvantage for divisional races. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense for sure.
Makes too much sense. It'll never happen.
Yeah. You can have all the buys weeks 8 through 11, and each week you have 2 divisions on bye. And then,
even if you had 1 division a week, there are 8 divisions. So 8 weeks, 4 times 8 is 32. So You're basically, let's say you take that would be okay. You play weeks, let's say 1 through 6. Then you have 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So 15, 16, 17, and 18. There are no buys the last 4 weeks of the season, which is basically, and maybe you switch it around at the end so that you don't have a bye week on Thanksgiving and maybe you push it into the next week. But, or maybe what they should do, if you want, is you should let the teams based upon like the draft order, you have the teams who the Super Bowl winner gets to pick their bye week. Super Bowl loser gets to pick give the team some input into it. Yeah,
I like that. I like that idea. Makes a lot of sense. So,
by the way, it would be make for great television. It's like when they televise the NBA draft lottery. Draws great ratings.
Or what if
you call it the bye week lottery?
Or what if the playoff teams got to choose their opponents based on their
that I don't like. That I don't like. But,
I think that would be fun. It would be fun. I think
it would be fun, but but I don't like. I think the teams that what was this was it Sluandre bye should be dictated how they. Well, I mean you could do that in a certain respect as well.
Yeah,
that you could. Now, I understand that there's a problem sometimes because some of these NFL stadiums are booked months, if not years in advance, for example, for concerts or special events or whatever.
Right.
But the NFL normally has precedents, and there have been situations where either games have been moved or events have been moved that were originally scheduled for like last Sunday night, wherever it was. I know a college game a few weeks ago had to be moved because there was a concert that had been previously scheduled there that they were unaware about or something like that.
Okay, yeah, and obviously Chargers, Rams, and Jets, Giants share the same stadium too, so they have to figure that out too. So, anyway, let's get to this game. But so this is a tough traveling schedule for the Browns because not only are they coming back from London, this is also their I believe this is their third straight road game. If I'm mistaken, I think that's no. Wait, hold on. Let me see. I believe that's the case. Yeah, it's because they played at Detroit.
Right.
In week 4, and then they played in London against the Vikings, and now they play at Pittsburgh. So third straight road game for the Browns, and the Steelers are coming off a bye.
And it's a long travel to get back at from London. So it's not your typical West Coast East Coast trip.
Yeah, exactly. So it's a really tough schedule for the Browns, and the Steelers are coming off a bye. However, Pittsburgh has a Thursday night game coming up, so there's that aspect of it too, against the Bengals. And I know the Bengals are not a good team, but I think the Steelers are. If the Steelers are going to be more focused against the Browns or the Bengals, I imagine it'll be the Bengals, especially with Joe Flacco now there. So I don't necessarily think this is a great spot for the Steelers either. In fact, I think despite the travel stuff. And I think that's kind of baked into the spread because everyone knows about it. I think I would like the Browns here. Not enough to bet them, but I like the running offense against Pittsburgh's run defense, which has been horrible this year. Pittsburgh has had issues tackling.
But keep in mind they've had that bye week to work on all of those things. Yeah, so we should expect a better effort.
Yeah, we should. Yeah, no guarantees, but yeah, should.
No.
I do think that the Steelers' tackling issues before the bye, at least, were pretty glaring, and also their offensive line has major issues. So that's something the Browns' defensive line can take advantage of. And I just think that it seems like to me, I think this would be a low-scoring, close game. And Dylan Gabriel, I don't.
What's the total in that one? Is that 30 something?
It is 38.5.
Okay. 38, by the way, is still a key number.
Right. Yeah, it's what 21-17.
Yeah, not as much as it used to be before the league started scoring. I mean, the average points I think has gone from something like 43 to 46 or something in that neighborhood over the last 8-9 years.
Right. Yeah, we used to see totals at like 31.5 when I started doing this. Yeah, it's crazy. So anyway, I think this will be a low scoring game. Like I don't think Gabriel's going to commit turnovers. He just seems to dink and dunk the whole time, which like not going to win games, but also not going to kill that team. So I like Cleveland here plus 5.5. What do you think about this game?
I like Pittsburgh under a touchdown. I think that they'll come out and we're starting to see some of the vulnerabilities in the Cleveland defense. That I think the Steelers will have had time to break down. That's the surprising part about Cleveland not taking the bye week. I mean, the league punished them by making them play their biggest rival on the road.
Yeah,
coming off a bye, and I think the extra rest helps Pittsburgh with any early season injuries that need some extra time to be healing. Doesn't figure to be a high scoring game, but if the Steelers can score 24 points. That might be enough to cover this number, 24-17.
Yeah, that could.
So, no, I don't think I'll play it, and I'm not going to cross 0 with a teaser. I want to do a little bit more work because, given the total and given the nature of this game, it might be worth considering Cleveland plus the points in a teaser.
Okay. I was thinking maybe 13-point teaser Steelers plus 6.5 or 7.5. I think that would consider that too. Let's just see. Do you think the commissioner will get really stupid and give a team on Monday night that Thursday night game? One put past them. Yeah, Goodell's very spiteful. Like he's banned me from the combine because I criticized him for his Ray Rice when he concealed the Ray Rice video. I pointed that out, and that's why
which he should have been criticized for.
Right, but he does not want to get criticized, so that's why I'm banned from the combine. So.
No, but I think the answer to that question is no. They would if they ever did that, the players' union would basically recite the laundry list of other things that the league has done that is totally against their concern for player safety.
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah. All right. So next game, Cardinals at the Colts. This line is moving up. It's up to 7. Kyler Murray may not play in this game, so we'll have to check his status as the week goes on. But yeah, he got hurt in that game. It was the weird play where he got hit in the helmet by the ball. And I thought for a second that he got concussed. And I was like,
the ball did.
All right. I was thinking like first player ever to get.
They did take that ball out of play, as I recall.
Yeah. He missed Wednesday's practice with a foot injury. So I think
is he listed as questionable or doubtful?
They don't have designations this early. He was just DMP today, so we don't know yet. I thought if Murray plays, I like the Cardinals a little bit, not enough to bet them, but I would side with them. It just seems like when Murray's at his best, when he's a big underdog and like he doesn't win those games, but like he can like improvise and like he stops thinking too much and he just does his thing and they score touchdowns. Sometimes it's garbage time to cover. But like when he's favored,
but they also give up leads. But of course that's not an issue with underdogs. But let me ask you this question because I think people got to start giving serious thoughts on this. Are the Colts still being undervalued?
I think so. Yeah, they were certainly last week. I thought that line was ridiculous, 6.5.
Yeah.
I think we both said it was way too low.
Yeah.
Yeah, it could be. I could see the Colts maybe looking ahead. They have the Chargers next week, and I don't know how much they care about Brissett.
By the way, I've never really thought about the players looking ahead. I don't know if you've ever heard players talk about looking ahead. I could understand if coaching staffs look ahead in terms of preparation during the week for this week's game, having things in mind for next week's game. I don't know that the players think about looking ahead, especially while they're playing the game preceding that game.
I think
fans might be looking ahead, but fans don't play.
Right. I could see them looking ahead. It depends. I mean, I don't know if like
when they express those thoughts when reporters ask them, like for example with the Eagles and the Chiefs, and they ask the Chiefs, "Are you looking ahead to next week's game to avenge the taste of that Super Bowl?" That's when they may answer the question. But if they're left to their own thoughts, they're probably not thinking about it because that game doesn't mean it. If they win that game, it means nothing. If they lose the one that they're about to play.
Yeah, I think it more applies to Thursday games coming up because that's actually like the players have to prepare for a Thursday night game, like in 3 days of rest. But we do know that the teams and players sometimes are a no-show. Atlanta week 3 against Carolina is an example of that. So
I took the game for granted.
Right. I don't think the Colts will necessarily do that. I just thought I'd mention it.
They're not experienced enough. They haven't had the recent degree of success to be quote unquote overconfident. And as a matter of fact, and I mentioned before, the Steichen, the coach, has done a great job taking over a bad team. Got him to, I think, 9-8 his first year, 8-9 the second year, even with all the issues with quarterback Richardson. And I think the team has been building towards this year, and they filled out this year's team with a lot of good surrounding supporting talent. And Daniel Jones, remember, Daniel Jones led the Giants not just to the playoffs in 2022, he led them to a victory over the Vikings, who had beaten them earlier. So Daniel Jones, when in the right situation and perhaps given the right coaching, etc., and having the personnel around him, he's shown he's a pretty good quarterback.
Yeah, his top receivers were like Isaiah Hodgins and Richie James. Like, it's crazy that he won a game like that in the playoffs. But, like I said, if Murray plays and is 100%, I like Arizona to cover the spread, maybe backdoor wise. But if Murray's out and it's Brissett, like,
well, the only time I think they've been a good backdoor team wasn't that the game against Seattle when they were down 20-6, and they rallied in the fourth quarter before losing. In overtime? I think 23-20, because they've not been very good front runners. They showed it again last week, but not in the usual. I don't really consider that an indication of not being able to protect the lead because it wasn't really that. The other team didn't really do all that much. It was the Cardinals who self-destructed. But in the game against Seattle, they did come back, took advantage of opportunities.
Yeah, and Kyler Murray in his career is 21-10 against the spread as an underdog. So it just goes to show that, like, I feel like he gets the back door a lot. Another classic example of that.
We're talking football here, right?
Yeah,
we're talking here football about back door. Okay.
Yeah. Week one last year against the Bills. They had Murray
Yeah.
had a great backdoor drive.
I think we both liked the Cardinals in that one, the opening game.
I loved Arizona in that game. Yeah. So that's another example of that. So he doesn't win the games, but he covers them. But he may not play, and so it could be Brissett. And I do think there's a downgrade to Brissett. I don't think it's a huge downgrade. Like Brissett's a good backup, but there is a downgrade. And so
it's like if you rate quarterbacks A, B, C, D,
right.
going from Kyler Murray to Brissett, maybe B to C.
Yeah, maybe B minus to C. Yeah, I probably something like that. So there is.
I mean, Kyler Murray has had success, so that's why I put him in that B category as opposed to Brissett, who doesn't have that kind of continuity and degree of success. He's not a bad quarterback. He's just not one that. Yeah. Well, let me. In fact, here's a way to perhaps give some sort of answer. If you look at fantasy leagues, how many people have drafted Brissett as a backup as opposed to some of the other backup quarterbacks who get drafted in deep leagues?
Yeah, no one's drafted Brissett. So, I like I said, like if it's Murray, I like the Cardinals. If it's Brissett, I might even look at the Colts at -7. So what are your thoughts here? How are you?
Again, if I'm looking for a 3-team teaser in addition to the Eagles and the Broncos, the Colts would fit the bill. But unlike the Eagles and the Broncos, I don't feel uncomfortable laying the 6.5 for Indianapolis. I have to wonder about the mindset of the Cardinals, and now you bring into play what's the player's reaction to what happened with that thing on the sideline that got Gannon fined heavily. I don't know. That's a big distraction, and I just like the way the Colts are playing. They had that disappointing loss the week before to the Rams. They shook it off, and they took charge early and often against the Raiders. They were very much focused, and I think that goes to coaching, but I also think it goes to the mindset of the players, and a team that's not used to having this kind of early season success. Let's see what happens if they lose 3 in a row. Right now, they're on a winning streak of 1, and which came after a very competitive. I don't know that I could say they deserve to win that game because they were outgained in the game, and it's not as though it was a one-sided game and there's a big comeback or anything. But I just think they're playing with a great deal of confidence right now. And again, I think this is the best team that they've fielded maybe since the Andrew Luck era.
Yeah, I think so. Definitely a surprise. People did not see this coming. Although I'll say people, I've had multiple people point this out to me. Like I ran into a guy at CVS. I sometimes talk to him at the gym, and he's like, "Hey, you made a couple of great calls last year." I'm like, "Oh, really?" He's like, "Yeah, I know you bet the Eagles at 17-1." I'm like, "Yeah, okay, yeah." And he's like, "You had the Colts as your dark horse Super Bowl team at 80-1." And I'm like, I completely forgot about that. And I'm like, "Well, they sucked last year." It was like, he's like, "Well, you were a year early." And I'm like, "I guess so." But like,
how many times have we all been a year early in getting these breakout candidates? We're right, but we're a little bit premature.
Yeah, but in fairness, though, I'm not going to take credit for this one because I thought that Richardson would make a leap from year 1 to year 2, so that was clearly wrong. So I didn't give the Colts much of a chance this year. So
no, I mean, part of the process that I do during the season is I focus on teams that don't seem to have it. I mean, for example, and I don't know where they're going to end up, but the job that Vrabel is doing in New England, maybe the Patriots are a team that next year, if they go, 10-7 this year, it won't be a great price. But let's say they go 7-10, but they're playing well and they continue to show improvement. And they lose some close games. Maybe there's a team that next year you might think about making a play on, certainly to make the playoffs at maybe a small plus price.
Yeah. Yeah.
Look at those kind of teams as the season unfolds, or teams that are beset by significant injuries like the Ravens. Well, the Ravens are still going to be fundamentally a popular team as long as Lamar Jackson is on the roster. But so that's not a good example. But maybe a team like the Bears, who, if they show some improvement this year, they've got a decent enough roster that just lacks experience. They have a very good now head coach who, still has his aggressive tendencies. So maybe there's a team that if they finish 7-10, maybe there's a team next year to consider making some progress, and perhaps you do it through will or won't make the playoffs.
Yeah, that's a good strategy.
Or playing their season win total next year.
Right. Right. Yeah. Well, yeah, we'll see. I mean, I'm sure we'll have some teams like that to do that with. So, the next game is Rams. Did you give your pick for this one?
Yeah,
I don't
Colts.
know. Colts. Okay. The
No,
next game
no,
is
no opinion on the total, though. Perhaps I would. What's the total? About 47.
the total
Colts.
is 47 or 47 and a half, 46 and a half.
Yeah, I might lean slightly over the total in this one, but my preference would still be for a play on the Colts in addition to putting them in that teaser.
Okay. All right. Next game is Rams at the Ravens. This line is Rams -7.5. I believe the advanced line was 5.5. And I don't think I don't think the appropriate adjustment was made based on what we saw from the Ravens last week. Like truly awful on both sides of the ball. Like Cooper Rush was a disaster. He had 3 interceptions, and I feared that because he was he's going against the top 10 defense in Houston. They weren't ranked top 10, but they are now. So and then the Rams are in the top 10. They have a great pass rush. They're number 1 against the run, or they're top 5 against the run. Sorry. So I don't see how the Ravens score. And then on the other side of the ball, the Ravens can't stop the run. They can't get to the quarterback. They have issues in their secondary, injuries there. So how do they stop the Rams? And especially given that the Rams are coming off a loss on national TV with extra time, it seems like a great spot for the Rams to bounce back. Now, the Rams do travel overseas next week, and so if they're coming off a win, I'd say, okay, maybe they're going to be a little flat here, but they're coming off a loss, and I think they're going to try to rebound, especially given how that happened. Like they threw the game away. So if they lose this game, they're going to go to 3-3. So I think they have to be focused here. I love the Rams this week. What do you think about this game?
I was looking. I expect a better effort out of Cooper Rush this week. I don't know if it's good enough for them to cover, much less win the game. But I do think it could make a case for going. What's the total in this one?
It's like 45.5.
I thought it was around 44 and a half,
44 and a half, 45.
Yeah, I can make a case for the over in this one. I do think the Rams will have some success. By the way, let's all keep in mind that the Rams started 1-4 last year and then went on that run to finish 10-7. I'm not saying that's going to happen to the Ravens, but I am saying that the Rams are a better team this year, and they managed to show they know that they can overcome whatever start they have, though. What are they, 3-2 now? The Rams.
Yeah.
I think. Yeah, I don't know that I want to. I mean, it's hard to say that line looks short, given the play of the Ravens, especially on defense. But this defense is nowhere like the defense of last year, and that's why I was going to ask you. What are there any injury updates for all those defensive players who are out? Any of them down? Anyone upgraded from questionable to probable or something like that?
Well, a little too early in the week for that, but let me look at the injury updates. So today, Chidobe Awuzie was DNP. Kyle Hamilton's limited, so that he didn't play last week, so that's an upgrade at least. Marlon Humphrey DNP, Lamar Jackson DNP. Let's see, Roquan Smith DNP, so not him. Ronnie Stanley's limited, so but I believe he was limited last week and he didn't play. Just so many injuries here for the team. We had a question in the chat about why Ravens defense is so bad. They just have so many injuries. Like Justin Madubuike is out. Kyle Van Noy was out, but he's back in. But like they have so many guys. Like all their linebackers are hurt. Multiple cornerbacks are hurt. Kyle Hamilton being out last week was huge too. Like they just have way too many injuries, and they can't get to the quarterback. So. And they just trade away one of their best pass rushers too.
Is that the trade with the Chargers?
Yeah, Dafe away. He had 14% of their pressures, so he's gone.
That's significant.
So you were who do you like here?
Once I can convince myself on the Rams, there's another potential teaser candidate.
Yeah, that's true. For sure. I like this one.
Yeah. I would think that the Ravens should have some more success offensively. I mean, they were going off a good Houston defense last week, but it was also the first start for Cooper Rush, who probably hadn't been planning on playing that much this season. And of course, it's a totally different offense between him and Lamar Jackson, and they had that 1 week to. I mean, it's one thing when you go from similar style quarterback to similar style quarterback when you go to your backup. It's totally different when you've got two different skill sets that are relied upon. So I would expect there to be more functionality out of the Ravens offense. I don't expect it to be good enough to win the game because the defense is still out there. But I do like the Rams. Probably will tease them. And again, I am looking over in this one, but I haven't played it yet. But I'm considering it. Let me put it that way.
Yeah, I'm going to be looking to bet the alt line, Rams minus 20.5.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a massacre this game. So kind of like what we saw last week, also with the Colts. That I really wanted to bet the Colts minus 20.5 last week, and I forgot because the London game was on. I just got distracted. So they
had covered that just a couple of weeks earlier. What was it, 41-20 against Tennessee? I think it was.
Tennessee. Oh, sorry, that was Washington against the Raiders. So that was it was Tennessee. Yeah, Colts against Tennessee too. Yeah, so both
and they covered in the open. They would have covered that number in the opener against the Dolphins.
Yep. Yeah.
So they would have covered 20.5 in 3 of their first 5 games.
Yeah, they'll be able to run against the Rams. The Rams are a top 5 against the run. I really don't think so. Where are the Rams?
Taylor's having a really, really good year, and Pittman's having a really, really good year, and Daniel Jones is not making mistakes, I think he's only been sacked 4 times this year.
Yeah.
So that's a sign of a good offensive line, which should help the running game. But yeah, the Rams are pretty good against the rush.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't see Derrick Henry doing much. Because with Lamar Jackson out, like this is a completely different Derrick Henry. Like Derrick Henry with Lamar Jackson, it's just so hard to defend them because you have to worry about Jackson running. Yeah, but if there's no Jackson, you can just key on Derrick Henry. You can load the box because you're not trusting Cooper Rush to beat you down.
Which is surprising that Barkley is having such a bad year, considering Hurts has the ability. But we'll talk about. We already got the Eagles, but I'm wondering, did they make a mistake in their offensive coordinator hire? The Eagles.
It looks that way. I mean, how do you run 6 times when you're leading the entire afternoon?
Yeah,
it's crazy. I can't believe they had that game plan.
I mean, Denver's a good defense, but given the Eagles, is that offensive line not as good as we thought as it's been in the past?
Well, yeah, Landon Dickerson is having a really bad year because he's just really not the same. He's injured. Lane Johnson has been in and out of the lineup a few times, so he's banged up. And then they traded or they lost Mekhi Becton in the offseason. Right. Like, granted, Becton's not playing well for the Chargers right now, but he was great for the Eagles last year. So
that's a lot of turnover.
Well, yeah, they lost one guy, and then 2 other guys are hurt. So the good news is that Dickerson and Lane Johnson could be healthy in the second half of the season, and then maybe they get back to where they were before. But I do not like the offensive coordinator hire. That seems to be a bad move. So
no, I mean, I'll tell you what, it's making Kellen Moore look better and better as the Saints coach all the time.
Yeah. That's 100% true. Okay, so next game, Seahawks at Jaguars. This line is Jaguars -1. Jaguars coming off that big Monday night win. Seahawks and that shootout loss to Tampa. I'm not a big believer in the Jaguars. Like, the Chiefs seem to have that game in hand. They lost it, and then they had another ridiculous touchdown with Lawrence falling on the ground. Chris Jones didn't want to hit him and get penalized, so he just stopped playing. And then Lawrence got up and ran into the end zone. It's like, come on.
He stumbled twice.
Yeah, twice.
Actually, a third time because it looked like he was about to stumble when he dove into the end zone.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, unbelievable. So yeah, I think I'd lean Seattle here, but I don't really see a good reason to bet this game. I think both these teams' records are inflated just based on scheduling and some circumstances. But I think I trust Seattle a little bit more. I like their defense more. I know the Jaguars are rated highly defensively, but they've played some sketchy competition before the Chiefs. So
but they played a lot of sketchy competition last year and could only force 9 turnovers. And where are they now? About 15, 16?
Yeah, no, I mean they are better this year for sure, but I still don't really trust them. So and they're on a short week too. So I like Seattle here, but I'm not enough to bet them. What do you think about this game?
Oh, by the way, I sort of negate the short week when you're considering the travel for Seattle from cross country. I think that sort
Yeah.
of mitigates the edge that a team would normally have if they were, say, in the same time zone as Jacksonville and the travel was not a huge factor.
Hmm.
I don't have much of a thought here. I do agree Seattle. I think I did in my newsletter. I did go with Seattle plus the 1.5, but I do like this Jacksonville team. I was on them Monday night. I had them in teasers. I had them on the money line. I had them, plus the 3.5. This team, sometimes you make a coaching change, and Cohn came in with a nice reputation from his offensive abilities in Tampa. And he seems to have gotten the players to buy into what he's dishing out there. NTN, again, good game and good season. And Lawrence is developing, and I think that kind of just sparks the entire team. But I think the biggest improvement has been with the Jacksonville defense because they were horrible. And a lot of it had to do because they never got any support out of their offense. They were on the field all the time. So I like this Jacksonville team. It is a bad spot for them here. But again, you don't have to play every game. Maybe because they're at home and Seattle plays so many close games, maybe I tease Jacksonville up.
Okay. You were the only person on the show to like Jacksonville last week. Everyone had the Chiefs. I never trust
at some. I'm going to point something out because I put it in this week's newsletter. Okay. Yeah. I do it every year. I think I sent it out to you already earlier. You probably didn't get a chance to look at it, but I take a look at close games, the fine line, parity or mediocrity, the fine line in the NFL is what I call it. And I basically say, okay, let's go back to last year. And there are a myriad of factors that could explain it. But what happens if all the close games, all games decided by 3 points or less, or by a touchdown in overtime, what if those games were reversed? So you turn the wins into losses and the losses into wins. Well, we know how good Kansas City was in those one-score games last year, okay? In fact, they were so good that they only had 6 games that met that criteria. Wins by 3 points or less or touchdown in overtime. They won all 6 of those games. So if you took those 6 wins and they had been on the other side of those 3-point and overtime games, instead of 15-2, they're 9-8.
Yeah.
Okay? It's not necessarily a valid scientific thing, but it does show how a team's record, because of their success in now, by the way, you have to be a good team to win the close games, but a lot of it is just the fortune. And again, I wonder why these coaches, and we talked about it last week, and I think we disagree on this one, why coaches defer the overtime kickoff. I want to get the ball, go down, hopefully score a touchdown. I don't care that I have to match or exceed what my opponent did, because I may not get a second chance. My opponent, if I can only equal what my opponent did on the first drive, the opponent can score the next time and win, and I don't get a chance to match that. I wonder why these teams, I don't know what the analytics say about that when they factor in that you may only have 2 possessions or at most 3 in a 10-minute overtime, especially if there are no scores on the first 2. So in any event, as far as the Chiefs go, I think you really got to start keeping an eye on them. They showed signs last year. They were fortunate. Oh, and by the way, all 3 of their losses this year, 3-point games.
Yeah. We do agree on the overtime decision.
Okay.
And I think it's idiotic to kick off in overtime because and in addition to what you said, I think there are 2 other reasons to decide to go first. Because first of all, what if the team that gets the ball first keeps the ball for 10 minutes? Like that is possible. You just
or 7 or 8 minutes, or you never see the ball long enough.
Yeah. Nine, like imagine a 9-minute, 45-second drive.
The only advantage that the receiving team has on that first possession is that if the first team does not score, the second team goes for it on 4th down, regardless of the situation.
Right. So exactly. So
almost every situation.
Yeah, and the other reason is
if you're 4th and 14 from your own 6-yard line after the change of possessions, I think you punt in that case. But if you're at midfield, you probably go for it on 4th and 13.
Yeah, the other reason to kick off is that you give your defense some rest too.
Yeah.
Their defense is exhausted at that point. Like, why wouldn't you give them rest? Like,
yeah, you've had 65, 70 plays that you've just been out
yeah,
there. Sure.
yeah, it's a big boost for that.
That is a very good point, by the way.
Yeah. Half PPR flex, Brees Hall, ETN, Sutton, MHJ, BTJ. If you need one,
what, BTJ going against the Bills?
No,
Are they playing the Bills? No,
Brian Thomas against the Seahawks. The Seahawks.
Yeah. I was thinking of the other Robinson.
Brees Hall is Denver, which is not good. ETN has Seattle's run defense, which is pretty good. Sutton goes against Sauce Gardner, but Sauce Gardner has not been the same this year. MHJ might have a backup, so this is a tough choice here. I think I would go with. I think I actually would go with Brian Thomas Jr. here because he had 80 yards last week. He didn't score, but he came close. And he's playing against Seattle, which look at what Ibuka did to Seattle last week. Devon Witherspoon's not healthy, so I'd go with BTJ. But it's a tough choice for sure.
Yeah, Sutton gets to go against the Jets though.
Yeah, but Pickens like the one Cowboy. He didn't have a good game last week because Sauce Gardner was on him. So that could be troublesome for Sutton. Seeing Sauce Gardner.
By the way, I believe that's an artificial turf surface.
Okay.
These 2 games in London. From what I read, that it's a natural grass field that is revealed when you move the turf off. They play soccer on natural grass.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Kicker rankings? No kicker rankings. Just take a kicker on a good team. That's what I'll do. And make sure the weather.
No. Take a kicker on a team that is good, but not that good that they have to settle for field goal attempts instead of touchdowns.
Exactly. Yeah, and make sure the weather's fine too. Who should be my RB1, RB2 good flex? Brees, Rashad, Judkins, Doodle, as we call him on the show. Well, if Ricky Doodle, if Hubbard
he is going against the Cowboys defense.
Yeah. If Hubbard is out, then Doodle for sure. Start Doodle.
I'll tell you what, with Doodle giving that performance, you want to make sure you give Hubbard a little bit of rest if he needs it.
Yeah, exactly.
It's unlikely that he repeats it, but you never know. All of a sudden, the offensive line is confident, and the mental aspect of these games can change dramatically either way. That's why I wonder about the mental aspect of the Cardinals this week.
Yeah, I think he's going to be motivated too. Judkins, going against the Steelers defense seems good, but like Andy said, the Steelers could make some improvements during the bye. Rashad White, if Bucky Irving's out, then I would go with the final 3. But if Bucky comes back, then put in Brees, or if Hubbard comes back, put in Brees. That's what I would do here. So anyway, next game. Speaking of the Ricky Doodle matchup revenge game, Cowboys at the Panthers. This line was 3.5. It's down to 3. So when I saw 3.5, I'm like, this does not seem appealing to take Dallas, but I don't want to back Carolina off a win either. Like anytime you back a bad team coming off a win, it seems like trouble. Like bad teams just have trouble sustaining success. I was actually looking into that today. I was going to
ask you, by the way, along those lines, have you done research over the last? You could probably do it. How do you define a bad team? But let's say you define a bad team as a team that ends up the season winning 6 or fewer games, or 5 or fewer games, or just using season win total projections. How such teams do as far as winning back-to-back games in those bad seasons?
It's tough to put that into a formula into the database because you have to add it. You
have to add a parameter as to what the team's ultimate record is, which is not, in other words, if I were to, and I use an old antiquated database program, but my query would be, okay, let's take a look at the 2024 season, and let's take a look at Carolina, okay? Right. And the query I have, number 1, is, did this team win fewer than, say, 6 games? If the answer comes back yes, then the query would be, how many times did this team win successive games?
Yes.
If the answer comes back that the team won 6 or more games, go on to the next team and repeat the query and the research.
So what and the Killer Sports database I have does not allow you to do that, unfortunately. So that's why I want to build my own database. But what I did today was I was looking at how each team has performed after a win since 2020, and I kind of like just look at like some of the teams that have done poorly. You know, for example, like the Jets are 7-15 against spread after a win. The Browns 15-24 against spread after a win. Titans 16-22. Like it seems like all the bad teams are listed at the bottom, whereas like the team that does best after a win is the Lions at 30-17.
Yeah, well, Lion, and that's probably, and I'm going to say that's probably a huge gap between the Lions and whoever's second. I'll say there's at least a 6-game gap.
So Lions. We'll do a trivia thing. We'll do a guessing game here. Lions are 63.8% cover rate after
what's
a win.
what's the actual record?
30-17.
I will say the second best team is less than 63%, but I will say what would you say? 30-17, 47 games. I'll say the next team is at best 24-18.
Well, the second best team is there was only one other team that's over 60%. It is the Bengals.
Okay.
With Joe Burrow. I assume most Joe Burrow games 60.4%. They're 29-19.
29 and out, so it's even more than. Well, no, it's one game less, 30-29. Yeah, but that's almost the same number of games, so it's pretty good.
Yeah. So, and then after that, the Packers at 34-24, 58.6%. And then the Eagles are next 33-25. So usually it's like the good teams are the best and the bad.
Well,
teams
it's probably going to be a lot of the teams that have double-digit wins. Yeah, because you obviously have to have some back-to-back wins. Now, by the way, what you researched, in other words, let's say a team wins game 1. So now you're asking, how do they do in game 2? Mm-hmm. And then if they win game 2, how do they do in game 3? So you could have a lot of wins. You could have a lot of numbers that build up if a team has like a 7-game winning streak, because they're going to have 6 wins following each of those 7. Following the first 6 of those wins, they're going to win the next game. So it's already 6-0.
Yeah.
In a winning. Right. I mean, not necessarily starting game 1, but in any, even in the middle of the season, like a 7-game winning streak is going to be 6-0 for those 6 games after the streak starts.
Right, exactly.
So it would be the very good teams that would have a. But I'm sorry, you were looking at the ATS records, right? Not the straight up records. Yeah.
Yeah, I could pull up straight up records too if you.
Well, no, it's probably going to be about the same, because the point spread comes into play only about 15% of the time.
Yeah, actually, the Lions are 6th in straight up percentage. And they've had.
You know why? Because they had that really, really good. They only won 3 games in Campbell's first year, 3-13-1.
Right.
So they only had 3 opportunities, but they had. In fact, I wrote up Detroit in the. So I won't go to that game right now. I'll just mention I have Detroit this week, and I wrote up what Detroit was, and I forget the outstanding numbers, but they are something like. Well, let me see if I can find it here, because it's astounding. Since taking over 2021, Dan Campbell, including this year, is now 45-31-1 straight up, and that includes 3-13-1 in his first season. Okay, even more remarkable is his record since 2021, including this season: 53-22-2.
That's amazing.
That's unheard of in the modern NFL.
That's crazy. That's so good.
And again, I don't have the number. They were like something like 12-5-1 or something in his first season.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
3-13-1, and that was a hint. Perhaps.
Yeah, no, I remember when he took over, we were backing him very aggressively.
Yeah,
that was great. Yeah, any guesses on the team that does the best straight up after a win? It's an obvious team.
Kansas City.
Yes, Kansas City 60-19. Straight up, 75.9%.
Well, how's Buffalo? Although I mentioned they do have some 2-game losing streaks in there.
Buffalo's number 2. They're 51-21 at 70.8, and team number 3 is the Eagles.
Eagles. I was going to say Philadelphia.
Yeah. Eagles.
Because even in their bad season a few years ago, they started 10-1.
Yeah. So top 5: Chiefs, Bills, Eagles, Packers, Steelers. So you can imagine the good teams.
Packers might be a bit of a surprise.
Yeah, I mean
Because you might have thought a team like Cincinnati has had great success over this period.
Yeah, Bengals are eighth
Yeah.
after a win. The bottom five after a win. Panthers are the
Jets.
worst. Jets are third worst.
Okay. Giants.
Giants are
No,
fourth worst.
okay. Giants did have that one really good season.
Yeah, Giants are fourth worst. Jets are third worst. Panthers are the worst.
What year are we starting in?
2020.
Patriots.
Patriots are fifth worst. Okay. You're just missing the second worst team.
Oh, second worst team.
Yeah.
Let me see here. Wouldn't be the Titans.
No, they're
No. Jaguar. No, it wouldn't be the Jaguars. What conference?
NFC.
NFC.
Mm-hmm. And it's tricky because they're not horrible now.
Yeah. Falcons.
Falcons, yeah. 10-23 after a win.
Wow.
10-22 against the spread after a win, by the way. So
by the way, we were talking about the teams that we were a year early on.
Mm-hmm.
I think we've all been about a year early on the Falcons for like the last 4 years.
That's true. Yeah, they've been the trendy hipster pick for a long time, and that did pan
Has
out.
Goff ever lost to the Chiefs? I don't know how many times they played him because it would have been with the Lions or the Rams.
Well, I don't know. I don't know.
I mean, they wouldn't have had that many encounters. I mean, they didn't play each other in the Super Bowl. The Rams were there twice. So they would have played basically, other than when they went to game number 18, game number 17.
Mm-hmm.
They would have played every 4 years. So,
well, I'm typing in right now. Jared Goff lost to the Chiefs. Jared Goff lost to the Chiefs in 2018. No, sorry, no, that's not true. The Jared Goff won that game. He lost to the Chiefs in 2019. It was 34-30. And
I would have to guess, though. See, that's again another quote unquote potentially misleading stat.
Mm-hmm.
If you put up 30 points in a loss, and you don't, and you maybe have one turnover, I don't think you can really say that's. It's a loss, but it's not it shouldn't be attributed to the quarterback. He did his job.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. That's true. Yeah, I can't wait to talk about that game. Anyway, as far as the Cowboys Panthers is concerned, we went on this tangent because I was looking at like how horrible teams have done after a win, and it's not good. So I kind of confirmed
you were talking about the Panthers. That's what led to the research.
Yeah, I assume that to be true, and I just wanted to confirm it, and it's true. So, I definitely do not want to back the Panthers, like especially when they're plus 3.5. I was like, I don't want to bet Cowboys minus 3.5, but I was like, I don't want to take the Panthers either. But now that is 3, and I know that I imagine this is sharp money moving it down, but I still like Dallas here, even with the sharp action moving it down. I think Dallas at least can, do some stuff here offensively. Their offense has looked great, even though they've been missing offensive linemen. I thought that's why I picked the Jets last week, because they're missing 4 offensive linemen. But I assume that Tyler Smith's going to be back this week. He was close to playing. And we'll see about one of the other guys. But they should have offensive linemen back this week, which means that they'll be able to score on the Panthers, who are just miserable.
What did Bryce Young do last week?
Well, he started the game very poorly. He had 2 turnovers that led to 2 touchdowns for the Dolphins. And that's why they went up 17-0 to start the game.
Right.
He finished 19 of 30, 198, and 2 touchdowns, 1 interception, 1 fumble. So not great. It was mostly doodle, just going.
Yeah, I was going to say not terrible like he had been, but not good like you'd like to see.
Exactly.
I see the. Can't make an eagle, points and more. But yeah, that was my first thought in that game, was over the total, because the Cowboys should be able to get theirs, even with their offense, even with without CeeDee Lamb, and they should be able to give up points. So, if you like the Panthers in this game, maybe you play them over their team total.
Yeah, I think that's the good way to do it. I'm not like crazy about Dallas here. I don't trust their defense, although their defense last week did show something. This James Houston guy can get after the quarterback, so maybe they're finding some stuff. So I would take Dallas in this game. I'm not sure if I'm going to bet it yet, but I might. What do you think about this game? Yeah. now, especially against number 3.
Well, I was going to say that I probably like the over in this game because I think both teams. I think the Dallas offense will have success, and I think the Dallas defense won't have success.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a question which has the greater degree of success. I would tend to say at -3, I'd go with the Cowboys. Okay. I still think I mean, I don't know that you could say they have playoff caliber talent, especially with the injuries, but I do think they have more talent, especially at quarterback.
Yeah.
Now the running back, you'd almost have to say, considering what do you call him, Doodle?
Yeah.
What
Doodle.
he did last week, and if Hubbard is out, that you might give the Panthers the edge at running back, but I think most other positions you could argue, certainly on offense, when we're talking about offense, Dallas has the better personnel.
Yeah, for sure.
So at -3, I would lean Cowboys. I would also, look over the total. Even what are you showing? 50, 49.5.
I think 49.5. Yeah. Yeah, 49. So I was about to say it's worth pointing out, and then Slew posted this. Cowgirls destroyed the Panthers last year at 30-14, and that was without Dak Prescott. That was with Cooper Rush, and that was later in the year when the Panthers were quote unquote playing better.
Maybe the Ravens can petition the league to play the Panthers next week.
Right. Yeah. So I'm glad
it'll be about the same because I think they have a bye, so it's almost the same.
Right. Yeah. The bye is what, -3.5 against the Ravens. I think I think you're looking at bye there. All right. So last. Oh no, there's 2 more early games. Sorry, there's a time change. Chargers at the Dolphins. This line is Chargers -4 or 4.5. ESPN Bet it has a 3.5. Although ESPN Bet's kind of a shady sports book. So not
very good.
Well,
bad lines, bad numbers, bad vig.
They'll limit you and ban you if you win. So very, very, very hastily.
Small amounts if you win.
Yeah, it's not as bad. I don't know if you remember PointsBet. Drew Brees used to advertise it.
Right.
PointsBet limited me to like $1 per bet. I couldn't bet more than $1 there, so I had to remove my funds from there.
I asked this facetiously, but with places like that, I assume you mean a Ben Franklin, not a George Washington.
It was.
I do that to be facetious because I could understand how some places would want to do it to a George Washington.
Yeah.
They don't want to gamble.
Yeah.
I've always maintained, I kind of like, if I'm running a book, I'd like to have some action from people who know what they're doing so I can adjust my lines and make it attractive for the people who don't know what they're doing to take what effectively would be a bad number.
Right. Was Parsons playing? Yes, I believe he was playing in that game. Yeah. Anyway, so I like the Chargers in this game. I think they bounce back, like 2 losses in a row. I think Jim Harbaugh is going to come up with a plan to kind of right the ship here. I know that they're having blocking issues, and that's a major problem. But I think they're getting the right opponent because the Dolphins have one of the worst pass rushes in the NFL. They're just
my only thought there is with the problems that Herbert is having because of the line. Might the Dolphins change their game plan and be a little bit overly aggressive?
Yeah,
sort of force Herbert to release the ball early.
Yeah, I don't know what the Dolphins can do exactly. Like they can't. They just allowed 200 yards to Rico Doodle, and their secondary is a complete mess. Like they had Storm Duck starting there. Storm Duck's not even healthy anymore. Like they're playing guys who are worse than Storm Duck, and they can't get to the quarterback. Like this Miami defense is just an abomination. And then offensively, they don't have Tyreek Hill anymore, so they're limited there. They only score. They scored 24 against Carolina. Two of those touchdowns came on defense. So if you take those away, they only scored 10 points on the Panthers defense, which is just really embarrassing here. Like Miami is awful. I don't think people realize how bad they are. So this number I think is just way too low. I would make the Chargers 6.5 or 7. Like even with their struggles, I think they will bounce back. Jim Harbaugh, great off losses, great in these early East Coast time games. He's 10-2 against the spread in those games, so he knows how to win in early start time. So I'm taking the Chargers here for a big play. What do you think?
I certainly can't make it a big play. I do prefer the Chargers, but I'm uncomfortable. They're on their 3rd left tackle right now.
Yeah.
And what happens if he gets injured during the game, which is possible.
Yeah.
And what's it doing to the psyche of Herbert, knowing that, if he thought he was going to have 4 seconds, he's now got 2.5 seconds to release the ball. So that could create some timing issues with receivers. It's a difficult situation because I like the Chargers a lot. Look, I have them in couple of tickets to to make it to the Super Bowl, because I think they're that good and Harbaugh's that good of a coach. And I've said it numerous times how Harbaugh did it in his second year, taking over a bad 49ers team, got him in the playoffs in year one. Same thing with the Chargers. Got him into the Super Bowl in year two, where he lost to his brother and the Ravens. So fundamentally, I like the Chargers, but I'm just wondering if those offensive line issues are too much to overcome.
Yeah, they are making
that's saying I want no part of the Dolphins.
They are making a change at center. They're moving to Andre James. So I like that they're at least doing something. And I was kind of surprised that they had Bozeman starting over James, because I thought James was the better player.
I also look at the over in this game.
Okay. Okay, which is what?
43, roughly.
Yeah, 43 or 43 and a half. Yeah. So, okay. Glad we're here. Glad we're on the same boat there with the Chargers. And
mine is a more of a tepid opinion. Yours
right.
seems to be extremely strong. About four and a half is not an unreasonable number.
Yeah, for sure. Especially, I think the advanced line was even higher. It was what? It's 5.5. Yeah, 5.5. So it's moved down, and I don't think is deserving. Like they lost to Washington. Washington's a good team, especially Jane Daniels there. Like there's no reason to adjust that line.
I love the command. I had him money line last week against
nice.
The Chargers. No, because we'll talk about them when we get to the Bears Commanders game. But they are a good team even without McLaurin, and I understand that Brown's coming back this week.
Yeah. Okay. So next game is Patriots at Saints. This is a time change. It was a 4 or 5. They moved this to 1 o'clock because they moved one of the 1 o'clock games to 4:25. Patriots are -3.5, which is I think is a kind of a crazy number. I mean, it's probably going to attract so many public bettors on the Patriots. I guess. Well, I wouldn't consider you a public bettor, Andy.
No, but I'm saying as far as bettors, I love the Saints. Here.
You love the Saints. Okay. I'm neutral on this game. I don't have a play here. My personal opinion is that like the Patriots are obviously the better team, or maybe not obviously, at least in my opinion, but they're in an awful spot coming off the big win against Buffalo. So tell me why you like
and a short week. No, I like what I'm seeing out of the game against Seattle may have been a bad game, but I've seen some improvement out of the Saints since the season began. I've seen some improvement out of Rattler. I liked some of the plays that we saw with the defense last week against the Giants, although it was the Giants, but Patriots aren't exactly an offensive juggernaut to put fear in anyone. Although I do like the progress that Drake May is making, I do think it's a bad spot for the Patriots. I like the 3.5, and this will be another money line play. Saints at home over a. Well, again, and I know that the expectations were high, but if I rank teams A, B, C, and D, the Patriots are a C on the road, and the Saints are a D at home.
Okay.
They're basically saying on a neutral field, the Patriots be what, about a 6-point favorite, and maybe 8 at home.
5. Neutral field probably 5.
Only a 1.5 point adjustment.
Yeah, I would think so. 1.5 or so. Okay. Let me see my matchup concern here, and maybe you think it's okay. I feel like when the Saints can't run the ball, they just really struggle. Like they're good games recently. Like they almost beat the Bills. Bills have an awful run defense. For example, last week against the Giants have one of the worst run defense in the NFL. Saints won. The last time the Saints really struggled was against Seattle. Seattle's a great run defense. So
that's the game I was looking at, but I don't know that I would put the Patriots run defense in that class.
Well, they rank 8th against the run. They just really limited James Cook. They did a great job on Gentry, for example, to start the year. They've done a good job against the run. Not amazing, but 8th is pretty good. So, do you have any concerns that if the Saints can't run the ball, you have to rely more on Rattler? Anywhere?
I understand that who was it? Taysom Hill may be available for this game too.
Yeah, I mean, he played last week, but
so he didn't get hurt again. Yeah, so I mean that does add an added dimension to what the Saints can do. And again, I like Kellen Moore. I like his creativity. We saw it with Philadelphia. I'm not saying that New Orleans are going to be tush push 2.0, but I think his creativity can take advantage of some of the things that the Patriots don't like to do, and I think they can compete in this game. And I just don't know that the Patriots have shown that they deserve to be laying more than a field goal on the road.
Yeah, I don't.
Maybe by Thanksgiving, yes, but not yet.
Yeah, I don't know if they necessarily shown it yet, but I could see, it wouldn't surprise me at all if they won this game by margin. But at the same time, it is a terrible spot. So yeah, they could be a little
Who do they
flabby.
have next?
Let
Patriots.
me see. They have let's see who finds it first. The Titans next week.
Okay, I don't care where. I don't care where that is. That's a good win for the. I think it's at Tennessee, but
It's at Tennessee.
I'd much rather play the Patriots against the Titans than the Patriots against the Saints.
Yeah, especially given that it's Vrabel's former team.
Oh yeah. Who fired him after several years of success and one bad year.
Yeah, he was a great coach for them. Like he took Tannehill to the AFC Championship. Like, who could have done that? Maybe a handful of guys like Andy Reid or Bill Belichick. Like Vrabel's up there. I thought. And
see, I look at it this way: Kellen Moore's coming into a situation. Everyone expects the Saints to be bad, but given his creativity, and we really don't know all that much about Rattler, but I thought there was room for the Saints to show improvement as the season goes on.
Mm-hmm.
I would have said the same thing and probably did say the same thing about the Titans and Cam Ward. You would expect them to show improvement as the season wears on.
Yeah.
They won last week, but, again, they didn't win the game. Arizona gifted it to them.
Right.
Okay, in many respects. Titans really didn't do all that much in that game, certainly after the start. So what I'm thinking of is the Titans have not shown any improvement, notwithstanding the fact that they won the game. But if you took a look at the 4 games before them, their margin of defeat increased from game 1 to 2, 2 to 3, 3 to 4. Okay. And their play did not really show much improvement, and Cam Ward did not show a great deal of improvement. So the Titans have sort of, at least early on, stagnated as a very bad team. The Saints, even in their opening games against Carolina and San Francisco, they were down, but they came back to close the game. And I think, was it against the Cardinals that they had a chance to win or something at the end, I think?
Yeah.
Or maybe it was the 49ers. I'm not sure. But the point is, Kellen Moore had the team playing. They go up to Seattle and get blasted. Well, even some of the best teams go out and get blasted. Okay. Yeah. But they bounced back and had some decent efforts after that.
Yeah, that's definitely true. So let's get to before that, I just wanted to add to what you were saying with Tennessee, that they kept getting worse. If the abracadabra guy you mentioned before didn't drop the ball, it would have been 28-6.
28-6, yeah.
Right. For all we know, that could have continued the margin of defeat increasing.
Well, the thing is, and one of the reasons why I made that money line play to protect my survivor pick on the Cardinals was because the Cardinals have let those other opponents back into the game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because they can't run. They can't run. Yeah. They can't put games away.
And that's now the third. Was it? Was that the third game that they lost on a walk-off or something?
Yes. Third in a row. Like if games were 59 minutes, they'd be 5-0 right now.
Yeah.
It's kind of crazy.
So that's the problem that I have, with the Cardinals. But you're right that the final score of that Titans-Cardinals game may be the most misleading final score of the season.
Yeah, I would think so. I would think so for sure. And speaking of the Titans, we have the 4:00 slate here. Titans at the Raiders. This line is 4.5 or 4. There's a couple 3.5 -115s out there. I wouldn't pay -15 for 4, but this is a dramatic line change from the advanced line. The advanced line was Raiders -6.5. And we talked about before how, when you have a horrible team coming for a win, especially an undeserved win that the Titans had, it just feels like a great fade. And the Raiders are they are 1-4, but they have 4 losses in a row. Like they have to get going here. This is a must win. Like I'm not. They
might be 4-1 if they had O'Connell as quarterback.
Yeah, well,
Geno Smith has been awful.
He's been awful. You're right. Like, at the same time though, they've had a tougher schedule. Like for example, they beat the Patriots week 1, which back then we didn't really
on the road.
Right, we didn't think much of that, but that turned out to be an impressive win. The other bad
should have beaten the Bears.
Right, should have been the Bears.
Missed field goal by a very reliable kicker.
Yeah, in that game, they outgained the Bears yards per play 6.9 to 4.2. So they were the
Yeah,
better
that's
team in that
huge.
game. Yeah, and the other 3 games they had, they lost to the Chargers, a top team. That was back when the Chargers were completely healthy. They lost to Washington on the road, and they lost to the Colts on the road. So they've had such a difficult
You're
schedule
looking
here.
at 3 teams that could legitimately be in the playoffs this year.
Yeah, both all 3 I think could win the Super
All
Bowl
3
this
could,
year.
yeah.
Yeah. So I think the Raiders are underrated here. The Titans can't stop the run. I think Gentry's going to have the sort of game that he had against Chicago in Week 4,
Yeah.
which should open up things more. I don't think.
Yeah.
That,
By the way,
yeah,
he's had his 2 best running games on a yards per rush basis. His last 2 games, I think it was 6.6 on 21 carries against the Bears, and I think it was 4.8 on like 13 carries last week against the Colts, albeit in a losing effort. But then again, they're
right.
behind the whole game, and he still managed to put up decent numbers.
Yeah, I think he's going to get going here. Tennessee's run defense is awful. Tennessee has issues, and they can't get to the quarterback. They've no pass rush. So I think Geno Smith's going to have a rare good game here, not make mistakes. And then on the other side, you have Max Crosby against Tennessee's bad offensive line. So
yeah,
I think the Raiders.
Only thing I'd like to know is the status of Bowers.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, but I mean, even
because his presence would make Genty's running game that much more effective. Now that Genty's started to show what he can do.
Yeah. So I like the Raiders a lot here. What do you think?
I like them. Not quite sure how much I like them, but they'll probably end up being a play.
Okay.
And certainly if the line goes to 6, which I don't expect, because I think it opened and dropped. But well, you said the advanced line. I think you said was 6.5.
6.5. Yeah.
But that's limited action, and it comes down and gets reposted on Sunday nights.
Yeah.
So, I'm on the Raiders here.
Yeah, Bowers did not practice.
It'll probably be a contest pick also for me. I'm not in Survivor anymore, but in the Circa and the Westgate pick 5.
Yeah, I think so too. So Luke says Raiders for Survivor. It is. If you were still in Survivor, would you consider the Raiders?
I think I mentioned that earlier. Yeah,
you did.
That I had this game circled as a potential play before last week's games were played.
Okay. All right. So the time changed game we have here, 49ers to Buccaneers from 1 to 4:25. You can understand why both teams are 4-1. Buccaneers are -3.
And you can almost say they're not. You could say Tampa Bay is not a legitimate 4-1 because they're close games, but everyone counts. And the 49ers could be even better if they were healthy.
Yeah. And the Niners last week, they won against the Rams, but they were outgained by a wide margin. It's just the Rams self-destructing with mistakes. And the Niners, we don't know what their injury situation is. We don't know if Mac Jones is going to play. Ricky Pearsall didn't practice. They have a bunch of injuries. Obviously, Nick Bosa's out. So this is not the same team that we had in week 1. And then Tampa, they have their own injuries, but they've
had injuries all season. Yeah. They've had injuries all season and managed to win games, albeit close.
Yeah. Baker Mayfield's playing out of his mind. Emeka Egbuka looks like offensive rookie of the year. We actually bet that at 40-1 before the season, so hopefully that continues. I don't know what to do with this game because we don't really know the injury stuff with the Niners. Like if they get everyone back, then maybe you take the Niners +3. But if this is Mac Jones throwing to Kendrick Bourne again, I don't know how sustainable that is. So I think I would side with Tampa in that situation. So
Mac Jones has actually played well, and he was highly sought after coming out of the draft by the 49ers. So
they did love him.
Yeah, and they still do. And they've been rewarded. And in fact, that takes the pressure off of bringing Purdy back too soon. And if Mac Jones continues to play well, Purdy may end up playing for the Bengals when the Bengals trade for a real quarterback.
Right. So,
but I like the Buccaneers here. You got San Francisco going across the country. I don't know what Shanahan's record is, like for Harbaugh. But the injuries are a concern. They keep piling up, and the Buccaneers are playing with great confidence. The only thing that concerns me is the line is 3, and that's about the margin that the Buccaneers like to win by.
Right.
So maybe they would make for a nice, and the price would be reasonable. Part of a money line parlay or a money line play. Straight. I do like the Bucs here. Defense is okay, and they know how to win close games. I mean, they win games with low scores, 19-17, and then 38-35.
Yeah. Yeah, it's funny
So
how that works out. They just win by 3 every time. So maybe just take Buccaneers to win by 3 for whatever.
Either that or you take the 49ers and you figure it's going to be a close game, or the 49ers win comfortably.
Yeah, that's true. Or buy up to 3 plus 3.5 or something.
Yeah, I'm not sure that I would play this game, but I feel now I know one's home, one's road, but I probably feel better with the Bucs than I do the Cowboys.
Okay, interesting. I like Dallas a little more.
Even though the 49ers Buccaneers game, you're involving two good teams with a small spread, and with the Panthers and the Cowboys, you're facing two teams with almost the same spread, but one team is clearly superior on offense, and I don't know that the other team is fairly superior in any category.
Yeah. Okay. The last of the late afternoon games, we have the Bengals at the Packers. This line is 14 across the board. It was 14.5, but the Bengals traded for Joe Flacco. So I guess we know that Flacco is a half a point better than
Jake Browning. But I thought it would be it'd be a half point the other way.
I know. By the way, we
Browning's much younger.
Yeah. The Bengals, they went from a young quarterback who commits a lot of turnovers to an old quarterback who commits a lot of turnovers.
Yeah.
So not the not the best trade there. It is.
I wonder if Burrow, given his current injury, could still play better than either of those two.
Yeah, probably.
Maybe for one play till he gets knocked, but.
Remember when Byron Leftwich was he had one leg and he helped around by the offensive lineman. I think that Burrow doing that I feel like could be better for sure. So
I wonder if they'd let him play with crutches.
Yeah, right. That'd be funny. So it's interesting. It's worth
Packers.
noting.
Packers, by the way, coming off their bye week.
Yeah. It's worth noting.
And they're coming off. What did they do before the 49ers tied? Was that the game they lost to Cleveland, or was that 2 weeks earlier?
You mean the Cowboys tie?
The Cowboys tie, yeah.
Yeah, they lost to Cleveland, and it's worth noting that Flacco played against the Packers in that game. So
right.
This is the second time you'll be seeing them in that game, which the Browns won. They only scored 13. Flacco went 21 of 36, not bad. 142 yards, not good, and one interception. So
yeah, but at least they're familiar with him. And again in that game, and remember, it was 10-0 Packers fourth quarter.
Yeah, and it was a game after the Packers won on Thursday night against Washington. They were 2-0, and they had Dallas coming up. So I thought it was a trap game for them. I don't think they played their best, and they had Quinshon Judkins going against them, who had a great game. The Bengals don't have any sort of running game like that. I like the Packers here. I think they land base the Bengals pretty easily. And for anyone thinking this line is too high, since 2000. Favorites of 14 or more in October are 25-17 against the spread. So I'm not saying that to be like, oh, you have to bet the team because they're 25-17 against the spread. I'm just saying that it's fine to bet these -14s because they tend to cover.
And remember, it's early in the season, so these teams are still sort of identifying themselves. So for a team to be laying, if a team is laying 14 at this point of the year, maybe it should really be 16 or 17.
Yep, that's 100% true. So yeah, I like the Packers quite a bit. What do you think about this game?
Not going to play the game, but I would I would lean a little bit towards the. Who do the Packers have coming up next?
I don't think it's anyone. I think it might be the Card. Let me see. Packers schedule.
I don't have that one.
It is the Cardinals. Yeah.
Okay, so no reason to be preparing for the Cardinals.
Right. So
other than to witness their play along the goal line. But I'm not going to play the game. I do have some things that do suggest that the Bengals at 14 or 14.5 are worth a look, because they do still have some talent. Whether or not Flacco has enough time to be able to be capable of working out their timing with Chase and the others is somewhat suspect. The Packers have shown some vulnerabilities their last two games after looking like they were the team to beat after the first 2 weeks of the season, especially that win over Detroit to open the season was looking better and better every day with what Lions have done, although that was a win at home. And if I recall correctly, the Packers actually went from a small underdog to a small favorite in that game. I think they're favored by 1 when they beat the Packers, but when they beat the Lions.
Yeah.
But I probably, there are other games that I feel a little bit more comfortable about than this one, so I probably won't do anything side or total. I'm not even going to consider teasing the Packers down.
Okay. All right. All right. Sunday night game. You just mentioned the Lions. The Lions at the Chiefs. Chiefs are -2.5. Will Compton, who used to play guard in the NFL, he tweeted today. He's like, "What do the sportsbooks know that we don't?" It's like, "Why are the Chiefs favored by 2.5?" And I just
good question.
him. I just quote tweeted him with the Captain Picard face palms going like this. Because the Chiefs are always going to be favored against the Lions. But there is a lot of public money coming on Detroit as a public underdog. I like the Chiefs personally. I'm not a believer in the Lions. I never really was. And people are like, "Oh, but they beat the Ravens. They went to Baltimore and won. You have to respect them." But then the Chiefs.
Not only that other than that wild high scoring game, their defense has played very well this year.
Yes, but now their defense.
And they were playing last year when they had all those injuries late. They should have won the Super Bowl last year, but for the injuries.
Oh, for the injury, yeah, for sure. They lost both starting cornerbacks, Detroit. So they're going to be without both starting cornerbacks. The Chiefs have finally found an offense with Xavier Worthy coming on, Tyquan Thornton providing a good deep threat downfield. And Mahomes is playing well right now. And you mentioned the Baltimore game is interesting because I think that was such a big game that people will remember. And yet Kansas City beat Baltimore by more. Now I know Lamar Jackson got hurt in the fourth quarter, but they had a big lead by that point. So I like, if you take away that Baltimore game, he's kind of like have to wonder like what Detroit has done this year. And like their two recent games were against the Bengals and the Browns. So like you can't really take that seriously.
Well, the Browns have a good defense, and the Lions won pretty easily.
Yeah, but they only averaged 4.9 yards per play. They averaged 4.9 yards per play. They were able to benefit from all the Flacco turnovers. So they scored 34.
That's a testament to the player of their defense.
Yeah, that's true. But now their defense can be missing both starting cornerbacks. I think that's problematic.
Then why are the Chiefs such short favorites? If that is such a key factor, you'd think this line would be 3.5.
Well, the public is already slamming the Lions, and I think the sharps would take the Lions at +3 or more. But at 2.5, I don't know. I'm on the Chiefs here. The one good healthy team the Lions have played this year, they got destroyed by the Packers. Whereas the Chiefs have had
but the Lions still are 4-1 against the spread. That one loss was to the Packers. So regardless of the quality of competition, to beat the point spread and by a significant margin, that's a pretty good sign that this team is undervalued.
Yeah, maybe. But I think they're overvalued now after those wins. Like I think they were undervalued earlier, and now I think
they would be overvalued if they were laying 2.5 in this game.
Yeah, maybe, but I think there's a legit argument.
Remember, the Chiefs' 3 wins have all been those 3-point games. Yeah, and Detroit's probably a better team than any of those teams that they faced.
I don't know. I mean, they faced the Eagles and the Chargers when they were healthy. I don't know if Detroit's better than them.
Yeah, they are.
I don't think they're better than the Eagles.
Okay, maybe not. Well, even so, they struggled to beat the Eagles. The Chiefs.
Yeah, they lost
at
by
home.
3. Yeah, they lost
in
by
revenge.
3. Yeah, they lost by 3. They outgained yards per play. They outgained the Eagles 5.2 to 3.7. Like, I thought they were the better team that game. Kelsey dropped the ball at the goal line. It was an interception.
Oh, wait. We always hear these. Well, with this play and this play, a game is made up of 60 minutes and 125 plays. There are going to be some bad plays they could always look at, but over the course of 60 minutes, the better team that day is generally going to win.
Yeah, but
again, the Cardinals last week are the exception to that.
Right,
they were the better team that lost.
Yeah, I think I think the stats show it. I mean, the Chiefs out, like I said, 5.2 to 3.7 yards per play. They outgained them in total yards, 294 to 216.
How'd they lose?
the Kelsey drop
Well,
turnover.
well.
That was a 14-point swing because the Eagles went
How
back
did
the
they
other way
lose when
to
they?
score a
How did they
touchdown.
lose when they only gave up 20 points?
Well, to be fair, Xavier Worthy didn't play in that game either. Like Worthy is such a big component to their team. So now that he's healthy, I think that really has opened up the offense. The first 2 games of the season, they didn't have Worthy. Worthy got hurt in the first drive against the Chargers. So they're a completely different team with like a legit receiver there.
Just remember what I said before. 15-2 last year could have easily been 9-8. They won all those close games.
Yeah, I don't think they put forth a lot of effort in those games though. Like for example, Carolina, like that was a 0 effort game for them, and they still won.
We're coming up with excuses to explain, because I could explain every win and every loss, and you could explain why it occurred for different reasons going the other way.
Yeah. No, I'm not saying they were definitely lucky.
Everybody laughs at Parcells says your record. You are what your record is, which is true. Good teams win the close games. Bad teams find ways to lose them.
Yeah,
the problem is the Chiefs, who have won all those close games, they have been in way too many close games the last couple of years than they had been the 3 or 4 years before, and that's the sign of a declining team.
Yeah, or an injured team, because last year, remember, they didn't really have any.
Every team has injuries, even the bad teams.
They didn't really have any receivers though. At some point, when you have cluster injuries at key positions, it's too much to overcome, I think. And like the Lions suddenly have cluster injuries at corner, whereas the Chiefs are getting healthier at receiver. And I don't know.
Let me point something out about the Kansas City Chiefs, because I think this illustrates the drop off. Okay, let me get to the page here.
Okay.
And I'm going to use the Mark Lawrence playbook because it has all these like 4 years of statistics, so it's a good source.
Okay.
Points scored by the Chiefs. 2021, they averaged 30 points a game. 2022, they averaged 29. Dropped by 7 points to 22 points in 2023 and 23 points last year.
Tyreek Hill is worth a touchdown, I guess.
No, not per game.
Well, I mean, that's the difference. Like, why else have they gotten worse?
Well,
I mean, maybe offensive line,
because the overall offensive line issues, the aging of players, and all that. I mean, to be fair, to offset that, their defensive numbers, they weren't bad in 2021, 2022. They allowed 22 points per game, which is right about the league average, maybe slightly better than the league average. Dropped to 17 in 2023, increased slightly to 19. So the defense has played fairly steadily. And even you take a look at the offensive yards production, which I don't think is a great measure. So, yards per play probably would reflect this.
Yeah.
409 down to 407, down to 355, down to 324.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So their productivity has gone down, along with their yardage, their efficiency has gone down in addition to their ability to score.
Yeah, I mean the Hill's absence plus Travis Kelce declining, and
you could talk about all these other teams having guys who are doing this and that. The point is the numbers are what the numbers are.
Yeah. Well, I know they still have the best quarterback, they still have the best coach, and they need to win the game because they're 2-4.
Wait. Detroit doesn't need to win the game. Oh, we'll take this game off. Especially in a competitive division with Minnesota and Green Bay. Now, Kansas City's in a competitive division with the Chargers and the Broncos. But I don't like this. They needed to win the game against who was it in week 3 when they were 0-2?
The Giants, and they did.
No, that was week 4, wasn't it?
No, it was.
What was the game? Who did they play in? Who was week 4?
Week 4 is the Ravens.
Ravens, okay.
They crushed the Ravens.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I like the Chiefs here. I think they're better. I think they're better than the Lions. And I'm not a believer in the Lions. Like with all these injuries they have, like with the offensive line, they're missing 3 offensive linemen too. Like that's an issue. They're missing 3 linemen, missing 2 corners. I don't know. And they have
who might now be the best coach for coaching right now in the league.
I still would take Andy Reid. I love Campbell, but
I like Andy Reid as well. But I'm just saying his aggressiveness, his and that got some trouble sometimes when he goes for it on 4th and short or whatever. Mm-hmm. But I think when he does that, and again, you look at that point spread record, 53, 22, and 2.
Yeah.
And you look at that straight up record of 45-31-1. And by the way, when you take out his first year of the 3-13-1, that record becomes 42-18.
Yeah.
That's pretty impressive. And you're going to give me points? You're going to give me points? Oh, yeah, I may lose the game. But his record on the road, by the way, Campbell, is also outstanding.
Yeah.
And I don't think he fears any team in the league.
I don't know. Campbell certainly does not. I
love their running game with the 2 running backs.
Yeah, although I say Kansas City's run defense is pretty good. So that's
but they usually have to go against one featured back.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, Kansas City is
sometimes none, depending upon the opposition.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's true.
No, they have not dropped off at all offensively this year with Ben Johnson gone. Defensively, they're still as solid. They're healthier this year. And the thing is that because Goff's not basically he's not a great mobile quarterback, but they've got some good weapons as far as receivers go. They have a lot of options they can do out of the backfield other than designed quarterback plays. And I think that, and the Kansas City defense this year has not looked as sharp as it has in years past.
Yeah, that is true, especially against the pass. So against the run, they're fine, but against the pass, they really struggled. So,
this should be one of the best running games that they will have seen all year.
That's they'll be tested for sure. We'll see. So we disagree on this one.
Yeah. Would I be surprised if the Chiefs win this game 37-17? No, it's possible. I just don't think it's the way to bet it. That's all.
Okay.
Because I could make an argument for the Chiefs as well.
Okay. Well, what would that argument be?
Not as strong as the one for the Lions.
Okay.
They're Kansas City. They have the pedigree. They have Mahomes. They don't have Worthy since you brought him up. The running game.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, they do now, but the running game is what, average at best.
I don't like the running game at all for Kansas City, but it sounds like they're going to try to trade for Alvin Kamara, which would be great for them.
That would be fantastic. That would make a huge difference because then he gives them some more options.
Yeah, for sure. Jordan asking Dobbs or Henderson in the flex. I would go Dobbs. They're just not really running Henderson right now, the Patriots, which I don't understand. I mean, Stevenson fumbles every week. It's like,
At what point does Vrabel make the obvious decision?
Yeah, it's like the one. It's so hard to criticize Vrabel right now because he's 3-2 with this upstart team. But what does he think? Like Stevenson always fumbles, and Henderson never fumbled in college. Like he's not a fumbler. He doesn't do it. So I don't know. Pacheco looked decent last game. That is
what he should do? He should give both of them equal playing time.
Yeah, at least
there's really not much of a when you consider the fumbles. There's not much of a drop off, if any.
No, not at all. And Henderson's better in pass protection too. So I don't get it.
Which one's better out of the backfield?
Henderson.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, I don't understand. Anyway, we have 2 Monday night games scheduled 7:15, 8:15. This is fantastic. What everyone wants, not being able to watch a single game, back to back. But
and once again, the NFL. Hey guys, you're thinking about money. How about the sponsors who would like to have a game entirely to themselves, and the other sponsor would have another, the other game entirely to themselves, and then you make more money, NFL, if you spread it out over a 3-hour difference.
Yeah, or go 7 and 9:30 start times. I think that's fine too.
Even I would still say, if you started the game even at 3:30 and 6:30.
Yeah, Pacific. Yeah. Okay. You can go
Pacific
time. Yeah, you can go you can be creative with it. You can go 6:50.
Even if you start at 6 o'clock. Even if you start at 6 o'clock Eastern, which is 3 p.m. Pacific.
Yeah.
And then it starts at 9 Eastern and 6 p.m. Pacific.
Yeah, you can go 6:50, 9:25 or something, and
it's
kind of staggered that way because people get mad when games start at 10, but if you start a game at 9:30, they don't really complain too much. So if you do 6:45 and 9:30, I think that's fine. So
let's look at it this way. I mean, you could start the game at 7 o'clock Eastern time.
Yeah.
You can start at 8 o'clock Eastern time. You know why? Because regular network programming runs until 11 p.m., which is when they switch over to the news and everybody goes to sleep. But they're watching all the weekly shows or the game shows or whatever they have until 11 p.m. Eastern time. So they could start the game at 7:30, 8 o'clock, and that would not, which is 4:30, 5 o'clock Pacific time.
Right. Right. It's a I don't get this. I like it seems so asinine to do it this way. But anyway, at least we
They have
have
a bunch of MBA guys who graduated with degrees in accounting and everything,
yeah.
and the only problem they lack is reality.
No. Or
Thinking like a person who can think. Let's put it this way: if you let AI, and I don't mean Andy Iskoe, if you let AI, artificial intelligence, make the NFL schedule, it would be a disaster.
yeah. Actually, I actually want to ask ChatGPT what it would do. But anyway, at least we have two good games here. At least they look like good games on paper. The Bills at the Falcons are the 7 o'clock game. The Bills coming off a loss. They are 4.5 point favorites in Atlanta. So you mentioned earlier that the Bills have had two game losing streaks in the past couple seasons. So
Yeah.
they could certainly have one here. Atlanta,
If you can trust the Falcons, even though they're coming off the bye.
yeah. My worry with the Bills, like their run defense has been so bad this year. Like they can't stop the rush at all. And Atlanta runs the ball better than any other team in the NFL. So except for maybe the Colts. So they like Atlanta is going to run so well on Buffalo unless Matt Milano is suddenly healthy. Milano's just not healthy. He played last week, but he did not look like himself at all. So maybe this is the week he improves. What we saw last year.
How do the Falcons stack up defensively? Because they do have some good numbers.
Yeah, their pass rush has improved. Their run defense is great. They have some good players in the secondary. I like their defense. Their defense overall this year is ranked number 9 in EPA. So
it was outstanding. Yeah, that's very good.
Yeah,
that's playoff caliber. I mean, if you're 1 through 14, effectively, I mean, it's a bad comparison, but 1 through 14 is playoff caliber for whatever the statistic is that they're in.
Yeah, exactly. So, I was kind of going back and forth in this game because Bills off a loss seems like they'll try harder in this game, but then again, it's a big game for Atlanta here, kind of like a statement game they can make, kind of like they did in week 2 against Minnesota. Granted,
kind of like Jacksonville did this past Monday.
Right. Granted, like Buffalo better than Minnesota, but still, Buffalo's not really playing all that great right now. So, yeah, the more I think about it, the more.
What did Buffalo do 2 weeks ago?
They barely beat the Saints. Brandon Cooks drops a touchdown, and the Saints could have the lead. Yeah. So yeah, they struggled to beat the Dolphins. They struggled to beat the Saints, and then they lost to the Patriots. It's their previous 3 games. So, and Atlanta is better than 2 of those teams. And then you could argue Atlanta versus New England. So I like Atlanta. The more I think about it, the more I like Atlanta. Not crazy about the pick though, because I don't want to fade Josh Allen off a loss, but I think I would go with the Falcons. What do you think about this game?
I'd probably go with Buffalo, but I do respect Atlanta. I do like this team, but I've liked them a lot the last few years, and they've disappointed. But I think they've got the best team that they've had in the last few years. Yeah. I think the quarterback play continues to improve. I like what I've seen out of the defense, and the numbers bear that out. So I think there's a lot of reasons. I just like Buffalo, who I think, and you sort of mentioned it, they sort of walked their way through the game against Miami. They sort of walked their way through that next game against the Saints. And they finally got the wake-up call when they lose a game that they should win. Mm-hmm. So maybe they now refocus and say, hey, we've got to take every opponent seriously. We've got to expect their best effort. We've got to come up with a way to stop them from what they like doing on offense and be able to take advantage of whatever the defense allows us. So I think we get a good effort out of Buffalo. Not sure I would play the game because normally I would look towards Atlanta. But even with the recent lethargic play of the Bills, I have more confidence in this team than I do the Falcons.
Okay.
The Bills have proven things before. Atlanta has yet to prove something.
Yeah, that's true. Either way, it's not going to be a big play for me. So, I feel like maybe I changed my mind again later. I was on Buffalo earlier, then I was like Atlanta, then Buffalo, then Atlanta. I just can't make up my mind here. So probably.
Well, you know what you do in that. You know what I was going to say. That's a sign that you should pass the game.
Yeah.
Because what it means is you're coming up with good reasons to play each side and good reasons to play against each side.
Yeah. One thing I would like though, if the Bills fall behind Josh Allen over rushing yards live. I think that would
Yeah.
like that. So that's it's the Evan Daniels special to bet a mobile quarterback when they're trailing over rushing yards.
What about Robinson for the Falcons over his rushing yards?
Yeah, against Buffalo's horrible run defense. Yeah, you can even do Tyler Algier if you think Atlanta's going to lead. So yeah,
if he's gonna get enough carries.
Right.
But then again, the number should be pretty low.
Yeah, I feel like it would be pretty low. I don't even know if those props are even up yet, but I imagine they will be soon. Usually they like to take their time with the Monday games. So yeah, I'm looking right now. FanDuel does not even have props yet, so I'm sure they will by like Friday or something.
Other than the Thursday game.
Yeah, the Thursday game will be up for sure. So that's
now
another
I
one.
mean it is, yeah.
Yeah. So again, like that same thing. If the Giants go ahead, take Jalen Hurts over rushing yards. The Eagles go ahead, take Jackson Dart over rushing yards. So
yeah.
that's gonna be our plan for live betting the game. The last game is Chicago at Washington. This line is Washington minus 4.5. So this is the rematch of last year's Hail Mary game.
Hail Mary. What an exciting! Has there been a more exciting 18-15 game in NFL history?
I know, it was crazy. It was very low scoring. I'd be shocked.
That was the one where Chicago played some poor defensive strategies that allowed that Hail Mary to occur.
Yeah, the one strategy by Tyreek Stevenson yelling at the fans during the play. Yeah. that was not good. So no, in that game. Jane Daniels is not healthy. He's dealing with a rib injury. And I remember even right before the Hail Mary, Tony Romo, who was the broadcasting the game, he said they should take Jane Daniels out of the game because he's injured. He may not make it to the end zone. So like that.
Yeah, I think I remember something. He has some really good commentary.
Yeah,
Tony Romo.
Yeah.
I like him.
Yeah, I do too. That was a funny comment, and I felt the same way. I was like, "Can he get the ball there?" And he did. So Daniels is healthy now.
That was, if I remember, wasn't that the one that the one receiver tipped it to the other? His teammate.
Yeah, maybe. I think so. Yeah.
I think that may have been the game.
Yeah, I think so. It's Noah Brown who caught that. I think so. Anyway, yeah. So I think Jane Daniels is healthier now, and Chicago's defense is horrible. They 2 weeks ago they allowed Ashton Genty to go nuts against them. I think Ja'Cory Crosby-Merritt is coming off a nice game. He should repeat what he did against the Chargers, and I like Washington here minus 4.5. What do you think about this game?
Yeah, I like him quite a bit this week as well. In fact, I think that was the one that I wrote up as my favorite play this week. Let me just see something here, because one thing that I seem to recall that Washington leads the NFL, I believe, with 156 rushing yards per game, and Chicago allows 164 yards per game. So that matchup works out very, very nicely. Now I will give the Bears a lot of credit, because Caleb Williams has cut down dramatically on the number of times he's been sacked this year.
Yeah.
Let's see if that continues. I think it's only been 7 sacks this year, something like that, if I remember that number. They have I mentioned also with Washington with some nice defensive stats. In fact, if I'm looking at the numbers here, they have a decided 1.1 edge in defensive yards per play. That may not sound like a lot, but that's huge. Yeah. Because if you figure out why these teams, what's the difference between a team that averages 4.0 and 4.5? The number of big plays that the team that averages 4.5 gets that the 4.0 team does not. So when you're able to have a 1.1 yards per play edge, that's probably 2 to 3 first downs a game that is worth. I also have a 4-factor metric that I like to use, and the Commanders have the edge in all 4 areas, which does not happen often. And in fact, they are overall number 1 in that metric. It looks at the rushing game, the defense, my efficiency numbers, and also one thing that people look at turnover margin. I look at turnovers lost. I want to play teams that don't turn the ball over. Okay. Mm-hmm. Yeah. You. In other words, I think that teams that don't turn the ball over, it may be technique, it may be better decision making, by the quarterback or not bad decision making. The quarterback is so important because he's the one who really makes two types of decisions on each play, and then has to execute the decision that he makes. Most of the other, like receivers, are running their routes. Blockers are doing their blocks. The quarterback has to decide, okay, am I going to stick with the play we called in the huddle, or I have to improvise? And if so, when do I improvise, and to who do I improvise? So the quarterback is that important. And one thing that we've seen Daniels do is he's excellent at those phases of the game. So I do look at teams that avoid turnovers. And Washington is very good. Chicago's been pretty good. Washington's a little bit better at avoiding turnovers. So I like Washington quite a bit. And again, because of that differential, in fact, I've just got the numbers here. On a yards per rush basis, Washington outrushes the Bears 5.9 to 3.8. That's a 2.1 yard edge. Defensively, and this is significant, the Bears allow an average of 6.2 to a team that averages 5.9, and the Bears and Washington allows 4.0 to a team that averages 3.8. So to me, this game should be a game in which the play in the trenches is decisive, and that points me to Washington.
Out of curiosity, you mentioned when you had all four of your four
factors,
the factors there pointing to Washington. You said that it's not often that you get
it's not often that all four points
right.
to one team. Sometimes one team may score better in rushing, and the other team scores better in defensive yards per play, which is one of the metrics.
When
that happens, I don't even look at the other two because I know that I look for 4-0s. Sometimes it's 3-0-1 because the one factor that very often, because it's got the smallest number of occurrences, is the turnovers. I use it on a per game basis, not on a raw number basis, because especially with the buys in there.
How often would you say you see a 4-0? Because you mentioned it doesn't happen often.
Maybe 1 to 3 times a week.
Oh, okay. All right. So
let me see if I have it. I don't have it from last week, but I think it either hit 2 out of 3 or 3 out of 3. I'm gonna add that.
Okay. But yeah, I mean, that's definitely good news for Washington here, and they seem to be the right side. We both agree at the end. We had some disagreements I think we had more agreements than disagreements.
Well, it's always good to have a different point of views because some listeners and viewers will like one type of analysis. Others will like a different. Let me just see who the ones were last week. Last week, the teams were the Colts, the Cardinals, and that was it. So it should have been 2-0, but it was 1-1. So
it definitely shouldn't have been 2-0.
Yeah,
that's definitely true.
But that's part of it. The better team doesn't always win, and even the team that plays better doesn't always win. But for that game to be decided the way it was with two very fluky things, I don't know that I've ever seen a play. I mean, I remember the Holy Roller with Dave Casper and the Raiders where the ball rolled into the end zone, and that's where they changed the rule for the fumble as far as being respotted. But an intercepted pass that is fumbled, recovered, and pushed into the end zone or recovered in the end zone by the team that originally threw the interception. And then and again, the thing that galls me the most is the abracadabra thing happened just a week before and was on every highlight show.
As I can't.
Maybe abracadabra doesn't watch TV.
Maybe is no TV rule. Maybe I'd be shocked if the coaching staff didn't stress that after that happened.
Every coaching staff.
Yeah, and I imagine that's part of the reason why Jonathan Gannon was so upset.
Yeah. The thing is, and just sort of like along the same lines, coaches are now better equipped and better informed to say at the end of the game, if you're protecting a 4-point lead, don't score the touchdown. Give yourself up on the 5-yard line. Coaches are a little bit better at that, and some players actually do it. Who was the one? Was it Chubb a couple of years ago with the Browns? I think did that against the Jets or something like that. I don't remember who it was, but somebody did it.
Well, Taylor did it last year in the Battle of the Horses.
Yeah. Right. But I mean, some players actually realize that that's the right thing to do, and they don't have to be told. They're aware of it
right.
at the end of the game.
Yeah, it was the Deshaun Jackson was I feel like the original guy. He's the patient zero of this.
He's the one that they always go back to. I go back to Leon Lett.
Yeah, right. It's way longer ago.
You were like 12 years. You were like 10 or 11 years old, I think, at the time.
Yeah, I was. Well, at least I was.
It was during the run of the Bills' 4 straight Super Bowls.
Yeah, that was actually one of the Cowboys' wins over the Bills in the Super Bowl. Was that was the first football game I ever watched. So that's when I was like 8. So that's like when it started.
What were you doing during the months of November and December?
Playing video games, I guess. Playing Nintendo, playing hockey with my friends outside. So.
Pac-Man.
Yeah,
Ms. Pac-Man.
Yeah. I was
Asteroids.
Super Mario Brothers mostly.
Yeah, Space Invaders.
Yes, Super Mario Brothers, Legend of Zelda, Contra, games like that. So
Tetris.
Tetris too. Yeah. Like that for sure. Dr. Mario, etc. So
with a very simplified graphics.
Yeah, Super Mario Kart. I was actually the unofficial world record holder of Choco Island 1 in Super Mario Kart. Yeah, it was
What did it make it to Guinness? Did the Guinness people come for you?
No,
because they now put out, I think, a Guinness Book of World Records specifically dedicated to video games.
Well, I was a little too early, I guess. I submitted my time to Nintendo Power, and they never published it. I was really upset. So yeah, I don't know. I guess
they probably needed verification, but cell phones were yet to be invented.
Yeah, I took a picture with my Polaroid and and I sent it to them, and they didn't publish it. I was upset because they used to publish the best times all the time, and they had the best time for Choco Island 1, and I was like, I can beat this. I'm really good at this course, and it took me a couple days. I beat it. I beat the best time that they had. And I'm like, I just beat the world record, so that's why I say I'm unofficial world record holder.
Yeah.
So I took a picture and I sent it to Nintendo Power.
You should have been sending them a picture every day until they finally
I should have
got the message.
Yeah, but I was 12, so I didn't really have access to too many stamps and stuff.
I was just going to say your stamp budget was limited.
Right, and think about it this way: that was before digital cameras, so
and the ability to develop film or make duplicate prints was expensive.
Right, yeah, I was not able to do that stuff, so that's it's gone. It's gone. I will never be distinguished for that. So anyway,
you know it, I know it, and our thousands of listeners, viewers know that.
Yeah, exactly. So
we can all sign an affidavit for you.
Right.
Whatever it would do.
Yeah, just complaining to Nintendo Power.
Yeah.
So, I imagine everyone working there is now long gone. Like they're not
like the game.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. But they Mario Kart still gets.
No, Mario's still around. Yeah.
Yeah, Mario Kart like 9 just came out, but this is the original Mario Kart, so on Super Nintendo. So, anyway, it's a great show tonight, Andy.
A lot of fun.
The show. Yeah, love doing the show with you. Love to hear.
We even got in some football talk.
I know, it was great.
Yeah.
So, all right, guys, thank you so much for watching and commenting. Really appreciate it. I'll be back tomorrow after the game with Evan. So we'll get to hear from him, and then Tom on Friday. So looking forward to all the shows as always. But please hit like, subscribe, comment below, share this video, visit the link in the description for the merch store, and visit thelogicalapproach.com. Sign up for Andy's newsletter. It is outstanding. There's so much info on it. I
have to update that page, by the way. I have to update the order page. I think I didn't change the price decrease after September 30th, so I'll do that overnight.
Okay, cool. Yeah. So, definitely you get a discount then too. So even more incentive to sign up for the newsletter. So, all right. Any final thoughts before you head out?
No, I think it's a very interesting week. I was not all that thrilled initially with the matchups last week, and it ended up being a good week, and I ended up really liking a lot of the matchups when I did, because by this, we're doing this on Wednesday night, which is sort of like the halfway point where I've gone through like my first 1 or 2 run-throughs, all the data and everything, but Thursday and Friday I go through them again. I don't normally, it's very, very rare, especially on games that I like, for me to ever switch sides and say, you know what, I wish I had seen this before. But there are times when I will get off some games and get on some others on which I was lukewarm. But I think the games that I really like this week, I do like the Saints, I do like the Lions, I do like the Commanders, I do like the Raiders. I'm almost certain those will end up being, some of them already are on my actual wagering card this week.
How are you doing in the contest, by the way? I didn't check at all.
Got off to a poor start the first 2 or 3 weeks. Started to show some improvement the last couple of weeks as my numbers become a little bit stronger, as the database grows, and as we see teams playing, different levels of competition, and as we see the teams that we thought were going to be bad all of a sudden are good, and they continue to be good, and the teams we thought we were going to be bad or that good continue to struggle. That's why the Detroit Kansas City game is important for me this week, not from a wagering standpoint. Yes, I know you like the Chiefs, I like the Lions, but to either give us a little bit more confidence that Kansas City has corrected some problems and is on the way back, or that the problems continue and they lose outright to the Lions, 31-16 or something like that.
Yeah. Lion King asking, would anyone choose Kansas City as a pick and pool elimination? Why? There's so many better options. Yeah, there's so many better options.
Well, I mean, first of all, Kansas City plays at Dallas on Thanksgiving.
Right.
You might want to use them then, because at that point we'll know. Well, it's like week 13 or something, so we'll know a lot about both teams at that point.
Yes.
Dallas can go either way right now. We don't know. I mean, they have a lot of offensive firepower, but they have defensive liabilities. Let's see if the offense can continue to play at this level, or if the defense continues to play its level or shows improvement, and the offense, gets weakened. And let's see if Kansas City can start to, the win against Baltimore was nice, but it was a win that was expected. And it was not anything that Baltimore hadn't shown vulnerabilities for in their prior games this season. Let's see if that, if that can continue with Kansas City, and they can start winning some games by being more efficient and potent offensively against teams with above average defenses.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we will see that for sure.
And I think Detroit sort of fits that mold, because regardless of what you think about the Lions, I know you're not sold on them as much as I am, or a lot of people. They do present a realistic offensive challenge to every defense. At the same time, their defense is a formidable test against some of the better offenses.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I mean, no, they're a good team. I'm not debating that. But yeah, I mean, yeah, you can use the Chiefs against the Cowboys Thanksgiving. You could use the Chiefs next week against the Raiders. So they're all good.
That's at Kansas City, isn't it?
Yeah, the advanced line's 10.5. So
well, let's see let's see if the Raiders lose to the Titans this week, regardless of what Kansas City does, because if they lose, they will have lost to a good team. If they win, they will have beaten a good team. But even if they lose, that 10.5 won't be around much longer.
Yeah, definitely.
It'll be higher.
Sure. That's for sure. All right. So yeah, guys, once again, thank you so much. We'll be back tomorrow. Andy, once again, thank you so much for coming to the show.
Always my pleasure.
Yeah, for sure. And please hit like, subscribe, comment below, share this video, all that good stuff. And I will talk to you guys after the game tomorrow.